Hey everybody, I was just writing out the today command. All right, so Adam is rapidly prototyping idle ascendance, then mentoring Peter at a stream uptime of what, 2 hours, 30 minutes? I should probably raise this. There we go. I'm trying to watch my posture. And look, I guess I fixed the YouTube bot, so now it's back up and running. All right, mentoring Peter at a stream uptime of 2 hours, 30 minutes. Yeah, today should be about the rest of the battle system, or like the remaining remaining tasks in the battle system, and then some skill trees and ability stuff. Cool. How goes it? Hey mayonnaise, hey 3D extended, hey Trackly. I think it's going to be a good day. I just need to watch my posture. All the things I do today, that's about it. That's about all that can go wrong. All right, so where we left off, actually, where we left off was with uncommitted code. And so I committed the code and kind of cleaned it up a little bit. I did that last night. I also fixed the YouTube bot last night. I think I know what was going on, but it's sort of hard to say for sure. And I'll just show you the commit message in case anybody cares, which they probably don't. But yeah, so what was happening is the bot was running out of quota, even when I wasn't streaming. And so I think what happened is that one day it ran out of quota legitimately. And then when you run out of quota, you can't do anything with the API. So you can't tell if you're online, if you've gone offline. So then it would still try to access the chat for a stream that stopped existing, hours ago. And since it could never find out if that stream was offline, it would just do that constantly throughout the day. So yeah, I think that's fixed. Hey, Atomic Man. Hey, the monkey. Okay, so handle end of battle effects. And I wrote this here. I think most of these tasks aren't even that important, so I'll probably zip through those. For showing experience, just make a super quick scene with something like warrior gained 42 experience, have the text slowly fade out. That's it. No notifications entered, nothing. So show the experience that you earned somewhere above the battle. There's no experience yet. But I think we should still show this. So there's player wins and player loses. We need to show the end of battle effect. So I guess we'll just say something like show end of battle text, message, string. So this needs to be added to the world because the battle window is about to cease to stop existing. Maybe we just emit a signal to the world map. The world map is what adds this stuff. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah. Battle result. Yeah, the whole point is to cut corners. So let's cut corners. I find this so difficult. Like I struggle with this so much. I keep, even however many times I say it, I just think I want to make things a little bit better. So show end of battle text, and that takes in a message. Good. All right. So the way we get this to work is we go right here and we do this dot emit message, and that's it. We're done. Now over here, let's emit these things. This is going to look really stupid. And then over in the world map, let's listen to that signal. So we add a battle, and this is right before we free ourselves. Yeah. Could never do coding in a shirt unless it's super comfy. Well, the way I look at it is it's part of the branding of the stream. I wanted a more professional look from the Botland days. So I switched to only wearing shirts like this. And, it was kind of funny. This is totally unrelated, I guess. Well, not to the stream at least. But at first, my wife was like, oh, this looks really nice. I like seeing you in shirts like this. And now that I wear these all the time, when I wear just regular t-shirts and stuff, she's like, why don't you wear t-shirts more often? And it just goes to highlight that whatever you're not seeing your significant other in, I guess, is what you're more interested in. I guess it's kind of the opposite for me. Anyway, I'm not gonna keep going into this in detail. Yeah, it's a brand thing. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are gonna add a signal for, what is this? Show end of battle text. On show end of battle text. Message string void. All right, so we're going to do something there, but first we need to do battle window dot connect. What do we call this? Show end of battle text. And self dot on show end of battle text. Cool. All right, so now to render this, we're just going to add a label in the world and slowly animate it. I think it's easiest to just make a scene out of this. So let's just do this. We'll add a label. How do we do this? I think we need a node on top of this, actually. So add child node, node 2D. And we'll call this like floating text. And then just make this the scene root and call this the label. Yeah. Hello, man. You were great. Thank you, Polycode. I appreciate it. All right, so let's not even set this. Yeah, what am I doing? I don't care about this. Floating text. All right, so this does need a script. This is a really, really basic script. This should be very easy to write. We're gonna make this. Let's save this just in case I want it. I don't know if I will. All right, so we're going to make this float up in the world a little bit. So we just say position.y minus equal delta times, oh, we can't even do that. Position equals position vector 2 position.x position.y minus delta times speed. Let's just say const speed equals, I don't know, 10. Expected. Oh yeah, that worked. Okay, cool. So that'll make it go up in the. Let's just try that. Let's start with that. Okay, so now we make a floating text. So var. I guess we just copy this. So floating text, floating text. The only way for that to work is to put a class name here. Then we load in the scene, instantiate it, and then set its position to wherever the battle was. I guess this needs to pass in the battle window. Where did the emit go? There it is. Hey Juan, hey yo, hey Trundle. I think your inner monologue is pretty professional on its own. You could lose the button up and still come off as a pros pro. Well, thanks. But I think it's all part of the, I don't know. You know how they say like you eat with your eyes? I think the garnish on a plate just adds to it, right? So it's like before you've even heard me say anything, I think it gives you a certain impression. All right, so we've got this text here. I don't think I finished this. Yeah, I didn't position it. So we want to position it based on the battle window. And we're going to put this here. I think we want to set this to global position. Actually, it doesn't matter. They're both children of the same thing, right? I don't know. I'm just going to do this. Yeah. Have the huck. Welcome in, YouTubers. I just hit YouTube. Well, they call it YouTube Partner, but I thought that was the 4,000 hour mark. So I hit 3,000 hours, and that's what got me into this program. And actually, since then, it's been 3.1 thousand hours. So we're just 0.9K away from ad revenue. Yeehaw. And that's, I think, celebration worthy. In fact, I should probably write this down. I don't know what we're going to do for that, but I feel like we should celebrate it somehow. And I should do some like in real life celebration. Celebrate 4K watch hours on YouTube when it happens. Anyway, I'm still super pumped up about this game. I'm super excited. And I think we're going to get through this task pretty quickly. All of these, I mean. Because we're going to skip half of them. We're going to hard code our way around some of the other ones. So we set the position, then we add child. Good. Hope the best for you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, now what's the problem here? Unused parameter message. Oh, yeah, right, of course. How silly of me. Floating text dot set text message. All right, which means we now need a thing like this. Func set text. We don't actually need this part. String void. And it's just what? Label as label dot text. Cool. All right, I think we're good. Oh, it doesn't fade out now. All right, well, let's at least see what that looks like. Like I said, it doesn't fade out, so I know we're going to have a little bit of an issue. So when a battle is over, which unfortunately battles take forever, so let me go speed these up. Where do we speed up battles? We just make them do more damage. Where is the damage? Oh man, my stupid posture. Here it is. Okay, so let's just make it do 100 damage every time. Cupcakes on 4K. I don't know about cupcakes. I probably want like, quote unquote proper food. All right, so this thing will die and it broke. Set text with value of type string. Oh, because it hasn't been added yet. Yeah, my bad. We gotta do this over here. It still didn't work. Set text. It's called label, right? Label as label dot text equals message. What did I do wrong here? Something else is funky about that. Oh, this isn't a label. Oh man, it's just a control. I was like, there's no text here. No wonder it's breaking. All right. Player loses. Yeah, cool. So this will just keep floating upwards forever. And so we want it to fade out and maybe move a little bit faster than that, like 15. Okay, so fading out, we're going to do time to live equals, maybe show it for like 7 seconds. And then in process, we just do TTL minus equal delta. And then if TTL is less than 0, cube free. Wow. AI just knows what I want to do. All right, so that's it. That's our floating text. And I think that's fine for experience. Well, that's not totally it. I guess we need to actually say how much experience you got. But yeah, player wins. I want to see a loss here. The life values are set. So I should lose one of these, right? I guess we're very slowly losing our players. Yeah. How did I lose that one time then? Huh. Well, all my slimes are slowly dying. Oh, actually, I don't think that has an impact. Yeah. I don't think it does have an impact. I think it's a 1 out of 9 chance that the one character I lose is my character. Yeah, that's what's happening. Okay, well, 1 out of 9 is 11.11%. So we could just keep rolling the dice here. Oh, this isn't testing anything. I already know it's going to say player lost. All right, this is the last time that I'm done. Yeah, okay, there. We're done. We're not going to look at that anymore. Of a wombat dating simulator? No. We're getting back to it. I know it looks a little weird, but you got to lay the foundation for the wombats to be happy. Looking good, though. Thank you. And welcome, Instant Tonic. I have advertised an interview on Discord. So this is what I wanted to do, and now we just need to make it say what we need it to say. So player wins and player loses. So we're going to have it say the experience, I guess, like warrior gains 5 experience. And on lose, we'll just say like warrior lost the battle. That's it. Hard-coded, just like I said, cutting corners. We're going to have this say something real eventually. And actually, we're going to need it to say that for the prototype. There are certain things that if you don't have in the game... Oh, hey, we lost. Did I do that backwards by any chance? No. Yeah. If you don't have this sort of thing in the game, I think you'd confuse players. Yeah, this is correct. Okay, so if you lost, make your character respawn after some time. I think this needs to be done, but I don't think this is important right now. Hey, Monatic Bind. Yeah, I want to bump a bunch of these tasks into something else. Like stuff that's needed for the prototype. Where do we say this? Pre-launch tasks. These are like, yeah, these are like prototype prep. And I have some cleanup stuff, and there's a polish section in here. Some of this is necessary, I guess. This is like a gameplay thing I should do. I'll just write remaining gameplay tasks. Yeah. Remaining gameplay tasks. And I'll just say, I think these are all important for the prototype, but not so important that they need to be done as I'm coding other features. And so number one on here is going to be this. If you lost, make your character respawn after some time. Like I said, this is pretty significant to the gameplay. This is the only death penalty there is in the game. And I feel like that's important for the prototype so that you feel like there's a reason to not just go fight enemies like 10 times your level. But it's just not important now. Does GDScript functions have to be contained in a class so they have static classes? You can have static functions. And so something like this is an example of this. I guess, like, okay, this is technically inside of a class. And that's what's a little bit strange about how GDScript works. So like, in order to call this, I had to do array functions dot sample. Now, some coding languages, that's not actually a class. This is an import or a way of like a namespace, essentially. But this does extend from node, so it actually is a class, and it needs to be in the scene tree here. Hey, Chronic. Anyway, how goes it, Monadic Bind? Check this out. So, well, you might have already seen this, but we now have, so we have the movement in the world, right? And you can get into a battle, and now there are life bars and the like ability selection, which actually does nothing, but it will do something at some point. So yeah. Oh wait, I never made this disappear, or I never made the opacity change. I meant, where's floating text? Yeah. So TTL minus equal delta, and we'll say modulate dot. I don't think you can just change this, right? You can. Huh. Interesting. This is the wrong way though. This needs to be 1 minus this. And now I think it'll work. Nope, nope. It was correct the first time around. Because time to live is going downward. Okay, the problem is that this is linear, and once it gets to about like, 20% opacity, you can't really read it anymore. That might be fine. Let's just see if it looks good. And if it does, I'm moving on. We're not spending a lot of time on this stuff. No, that looks bad. Yeah, so here's what we'll do instead. We'll do var alpha float equals time to live divided by 7. So we'll do, we want it to be, I'll just set it to 1. Yeah, I'll set it to 1. And then if time to live is less than like 2, then alpha equals, I don't know, this divided by 2. And then set this to alpha. I'm not totally sure I did that correctly, but if this looks fine, then we're happy. So how's that look now? Should be opaque until the last 2 seconds, and then it should fade out pretty quickly. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Whatever. That's pretty good. Maybe set the time to live to like 6 seconds instead of 7. Doesn't have to be in the scene tree. Oh, interesting. And yeah, probably use a tween for the proper way of doing this. I agree. All right. So that one's done. Now handle experience and leveling up. So this technically isn't needed yet because you don't get anything by leveling up yet. So I think this also goes into the whole like remaining gameplay tasks. And this is pretty obvious that this needs to be done for a game like this. All right, so that one goes there. What else? Show your level in life above your character. Yeah, I think so. I don't think this needs to be done here either. Your life should persist between battles. Okay, so this I can do now. And this is kind of working, but not quite. Let's go figure out where I just said that damage thing of 100 and set it to maybe like 85. That way it's not just insta-kill. So what I want to do here is I want to get to the point where you either win or lose, doesn't matter. But then that these life bars, the life bars are set properly, but the existence of the characters aren't set correctly. So that's done somewhere probably in here. Yeah, add characters to battle. We don't add them if they don't have a life value. All right, so let me think about this. This whole grid position thing. I guess we say if character data dot life is less than or equal to 0, then just continue. Will that work? Hey, Roker Man. New project's coming along quickly and nicely. Yeah. I'm excited about it. Now, thanks for watching. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm kind of in a weird test scenario here because these enemies are grouping up on top of me. I need to just get one of them. So I guess we need to dodge all these and then get one of these last ones over here, like this bat. Okay, good. Now we win or lose this fight, doesn't matter. So it looks like we're going to win this fight, which means that all my guys should, well, none of them died. I wanted to test that them dying works correctly, but I guess they're going to eventually die. Yeah, there goes half my team, so I'm probably going to lose, which means that when we restart this fight, the top left and bottom right spiders should be gone. But actually, if they're going to be gone, I want the slots that they were using to still look like they were occupied, because now it's going to consolidate them, I think. Oh, am I going to win this? Warrior lost a battle. Yeah. So we saw the bat with the proper amount of life there. How should that work? So we have characters that were dead in here. I think if... Indeed. I didn't even want enemy values to persist in between battle. So this doesn't make sense, I guess. Yeah. Okay, well, this is a small consideration at least. So like the rogue has an ability that is place trap. And so if you picture the grid situation that we have going on here, the rogue is always going to be here and traps could be wherever. Let's say it's here. If you end a battle and the trap is at the bottom left, then when you restart the battle, I think you'd assume that the trap is still going to be at the bottom left. This isn't some major problem or anything. It just means that I probably need to store the grid positions inside something that persists and not come up with them on the fly. But since it doesn't matter now, I think we just cut this corner. Yeah. In fact, I don't even think this should be a thing. I think we should just delete the character from the battle if the battle ends. Yeah. So basically, this should just never be a consideration that happens. Okie dokie. Let's go figure out where that happens then. So this stuff, battle ended. So if you win, then I guess delete all your dead characters. To do remove any dead characters. And if the enemy wins, then to do set the enemy back to full. Ooh, this won't actually work the way I want it to, right? Because if the enemy did some kind of like summons in between, you might get into a battle that becomes unwinnable. I'm going to just write this down for something for the future, because this is... Otherwise, I'm not going to do this now. I think we're just going to remove all the dead enemies for now. Okay, so yeah, where is it? Post prototype changes. Here it is. Oh, here it is. Yeah. I probably need to reset battles in some way if you lose a fight. There are 9 enemies in the fight. You manage to kill a few and weaken some others. You probably don't want that to persist. Also, if there's only a single enemy in the fight and they summon 8 allies, then you probably don't want the next fight to start with those summons. Yeah. That last part is a little bit tough because it means saving a snapshot of what the reset state is or looks like. Hey, newcomer. Summons die at end of combat. Yeah, that could work, but we still need anything that died that wasn't a summon. Like, imagine you've got, I don't know, whatever, a boss, and then the boss starts with a spider. Like, if you kill the spider and then lose the fight, the spider should come back. So anyway, this is something I'm just not going to handle right now. What we're going to handle instead is we're just going to remove any dead characters here. So remove any characters that died regardless of who won. Oh, this will break the player though, I think. This isn't the behavior I eventually want in the game, but it's good enough for the prototype. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much this. The only thing we need to do, though, is not free up the primary character and not battle character not equal to the player primary character. Okay, there. I think we've done it. So now we need to test this. Can I set battles to be automated somehow? How do I do this? I want to act like you've always clicked a button, I guess. So waiting for player to choose ability. If ability is queued. Okay, what if we just deleted this? Const force use ability equals true. Okay, if force use ability or this stuff, then ability used. Good. Okay, great. Now we don't have to click any buttons anymore. We just get into a battle. Good. All right, it's automated, but there's no way to tell if we're doing this correctly because I need to do that thing where I single out an enemy over here. Good. Okay, so whoever wins, doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that the dead things are dead. So like I have what, 2 slimes left on my side? So when I get into this next fight, I should still just have, ooh, yeah, that's broken. How did that happen? Yeah, why isn't it? At the end of the battle, it should be removing these. Maybe it's like re-adding them somewhere. Where is it? It's battle ended. Here it is. If character data.life is less than or equal to 0, and the battle character is not equal to this, then free it. Oh, but then we never remove it from... We never remove it from the... From whatever's tracking. Is the overworld player or something like that? Yes. There it is. All character data. Okay, so we need some way of deleting this. Hey, mayonnaise. So delete character data. Yeah, sure. Erase character data and don't allow it to be the primary one. Well, something else needs to do the don't allow it to be the primary one thing. Does a battle character know what its overworld character is? No. Maybe it should. Or maybe just the character should just emit something saying it died. Yeah, maybe I just say delete here. Okay, yeah, something like that. So func delete. And we emit a signal deleted. Are we going to pass in our character data? Yeah. Deleted.emit self or character data. Okay, then the overworld character that makes this needs to listen to deleted and take in the character data. All right, where is that? Battle character. Where is that? There's character data here. Add character data? Ah, here it is. Oh, this is not what I thought. There is no such thing as queue free here. It's never added to the scene tree. What? Is this a, yeah, it's a scene. How did I, what? No, I must have added it. Oh, there it is. Place character in battle. Yeah, unfortunately at this point we don't have an overworld character to associate this with. We do up here. I guess we could just do this here. Yeah, all right, fine. So, overworld character. Dot connect deleted. Actually, it's on the battle character. What am I doing? And this would be delete character data over there. This is stupid. This is really stupid. I'm adding this thing inside the battle. I guess that makes sense. But the data that's being tracked is still under here. And so when something dies in a battle, yeah, I think the easiest thing that I could do here is just initialize the battle character with the overworld character that we have. I think it'd make everything so much simpler. Oh, neat. I didn't know that syntax existed. I want to try that out at some point. I'll write that down. Yeah. I think that would be nice. It's new in Godot 4, yeah. Well, the other thing that's new in Godot 4 is being able to even reference functions instead of having to do like self, comma, and then the name in string and a string, name of func in string. So now you can at least just do this. And this doesn't need to be a string anymore. All right, so wait, let me think about this. The character dies. Oh, yeah, that's what we said. We were going to just construct the battle character with the overworld character. Yeah, I think this is a little bit weird. It's tight coupling, but I'm not going to do things differently right now. Yeah, there we go. All right, now we save this off. This is an overworld character. Val, overworld character. All right, save that. And then when this thing gets deleted, just say that it was deleted like this and don't emit anything. Did I not call this delete? Cut those corners. Yeah. I mean, I really have to if I want to get to the point where we're just testing this. All right, so now delete character data is going to be this. Great, cool. Now we just change this to be like that and that. All right, there is one problem here, and that's that you should never delete the primary, the player's character, because that'll cause some major problems. Hey, pal. So we could do this. What knows if it's the primary? Yeah, is owned by player, and if it's the primary one, yeah. So if is owned by player and it's the primary one, then just return. You can't delete that. Otherwise, erase it. And now I think we're done. Yeah. Overworld character, overworld character. What is going wrong now? Why is this red? Too few arguments. Oh, right. Yeah, of course. Okay. Are we good now? No, no, no. I don't want to get in a fight. I want to move around and get to one of these. There we go. It's a warrior lot. No, this still isn't working. Huh. That would suggest that it's not deleting these. Also, yeah, huh. I guess technically the enemy could lose their primary character and then there just is no primary character. You can still reference A dot some constant to B. Oh, nice. Yeah. Hey, Pro Sam. All right. This is not going well. The overworld character keeps track of all the character data. That is where we put them into battle afterward. And at the end of a battle, I'm doing this here. I don't even think this should, whoops, not this. Yeah, I don't think it should be here. This should just be like delete dead characters. Battle character dot delete dead characters. All right, now let's go make that. All right, so if, oh, this doesn't even have them all. What am I doing? What am I doing? Is this why this doesn't make any sense? Okay, hold on. I really should write down what a battle character represents. So this represents a single character in a battle. I'm somehow treating this like this is everything over here, and it's not. So this is a better way of doing things. So we make sure their life is less than 0, and they're not the primary one. This doesn't work. No, it does work. I don't know what else I'm doing wrong here. Any that were dead. How do we... Maybe these have already been freed? Yeah, queue free. Oh, and then they get erased. Oh my goodness. How does it not break everything? Character died. Yeah, the target in this case could just be the player's main character. And then I don't know how that's not like breaking all the rules of the game right now. All character data. I don't want to even do this. I want to do this on primary character data. So you'll never get those characters back. Oh, this is just bad. Where'd I get the keyboard from? I built it. I've got a video on, well, actually, I don't have the video easily accessible, I guess. It's on my personal channel. Yeah, this video. So the video in the keyboard command is just what this keyboard's about, but the video that I linked in from my personal channel has like what got me to this keyboard and talks a little bit about how building it was. Both videos are probably worth watching if you're interested in a keyboard like this. Okay, so I think what I've uncovered is that how I'm doing this stuff is pretty messy. And I'm going to just be kicking this can down the road. And part of it was intentional, and then part of it is like, well, if I want these enemies to be dead in between fights, I need to think of how this is going to work. So how would I want this to work if this were in a prototype? Let's at least think about it from that point of view. So we have this overworld character, and it's currently storing all of the battle characters. It stores battle character data. Yeah, well, it stores it like this, I guess. And so that may have dead characters in it. And I think what I want is it for it to be like a template of what you had. No, I think deleting things in it is fine. All right, let's go back a step. Let's go delete some of this that I had. This shouldn't be needed here. Because as soon as a character dies, and this is as soon as we've done, yep, we queue free it. So the battle character gets removed, which we do see happening, and then we try erasing it from here, but the overworld character doesn't know that it's died. So I guess target.delete would go here, and we would queue free over here. Then we need it to know to get deleted. All right, now I think I understand how this was working before. Okay, I think we're good. Let's try this out. So I'm going to take this bat. Okay, so I've lost one slime. Yeah, so I never get these slimes back. In fact, no matter how many enemies I fight, I'll just keep losing slimes until then I lose every single fight guaranteed. I guess not guaranteed, because I'll slowly whittle down the enemy. Yeah, so I should be slowly killing these spiders, hopefully, if I'm the one who moves first in a battle. It doesn't look like I'm doing any damage. I don't know how that's possible. Shouldn't I be the first one to attack always? Huh. I mean, this is stuck in an infinite loop, but why is it stuck? Do I misunderstand how we take turns in battle? I probably do, and there's probably no issue, and even debugging this is probably a waste of time. So we add all these characters to a battle, and then when we decide whose turn it is, how do we do that? Process characters. Go through every character, and since we're adding the players first, we'll hit that one first. So we'll hit this first, and we call it take turn. Wait for player to have usable ability. Oh, so here we're waiting for a cooldown. That would have been fine. So we have a usable ability. Now we set that we're ready, and then we're pause, so we return. And then something checks, where's that force usability at? Done waiting for player to use ability. This is if we're paused. So we'll stop processing characters. We get back to this. Oh, I see. Oh, because abilities don't do anything right now. Yeah, well, that's my bad. I guess we could make the ability do something. Yeah, your player is currently useless. We need to make it do damage. All right, so where do we have it do damage? I guess in take turn. Oh, wait. Oh, take turn should be the thing that does this, right? Oh, no. It's took turn, not take turn. All right, so then I see what we have to do. We need to, we'll just say like func use or like attack, use attack ability. There are no real abilities in the game yet, so every ability is just a single target attack for now. All right, yeah. So that's where all of this comes in. And we need to know who's doing this. Yeah, so use attack ability. Good and good. Yeah, great. All right, so now in the usability thing that I had, I don't know what it's called. Is it ability used? What? Oh, that's probably something went wrong here. Yeah, here it is. All right, in this one, we're going to use attack ability. Yeah. And we need this to be your character's, so primary battle character. Oh, all right. So that should fix that bug. And we should always have run into that bug before, because at some point we will lose every single fight we do. So let's see. So we should either win or lose this. It doesn't really matter. But then eventually we'll always lose, but not anymore. Okay, so we won that one. We're going to keep doing this till we lose. Wait for that snake to come over here. That's right. Now we just line ourselves up. Good. All right, lost the battle. So eventually all my allies are going to die. But I should still slowly whittle down the enemies, right? We're almost there. There. Okay. Now, this is what I wanted to test. Yes, we saw that lose a little bit of life. We saw that one die. So I will eventually win this fight, guaranteed. But there's no reason to watch this, but I'm going to anyway. It's funny that it's never actually hitting the bat. Because that's all it needs to do to... No, wait, that's not all it needs to do to win. Oh, interesting. I didn't actually think of that, did I? Wow, it's really not going to just test this for me? Okay, so there, the bat is dead. Drat. Drat. All right, we need to make it target the middle character all the time. What editor did I use when working at Google? They had an internal editor that I used for some of it, and then VS Code for some other parts. Hey, Snipe. Oh, I'm like super delayed on saying hi to Snipe. Sorry about that. I was very absorbed. Yeah, so last thing is, what happens when you kill the primary enemy character? We should revive them all, I guess. How do we test this? I mean, we could just change the attack ability to target the middle character if there is one. I'll just test this like this. Okay, so here we won. We should start losing some fights. I just want that snake to be dead. Kill the snake, kill the snake. No, come on. Oh man. Oh, maybe it can't. Oh no, it can. Ah, but then it spawns again and it looks like it's got life. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that is broken. So why is that broken though? The overworld character has a concept of its primary character data, but that could be dead. This is only if it is owned by player, and that's not true. Add character data. Battle was lost. Oh, here we go. This is only if owned by player, though. No, there isn't anything that should be done here. What is going on? Oh, I see. Because we always place the primary character even if they're dead. Okay, well, we'll just put some code here for stopping that. So if primary data dot life is greater than 0, or I guess it's less than or equal to 0, then just return. Only the enemy should be able to be in this situation where its primary character died. And that's not even behavior I want for the final game. I want the enemy to reset completely. Okay, that was harder than I thought. And now in testing this, I couldn't maximize this fast enough, so now we can't test this. And we'll just move to the side and then maximize it. Good. I want that bat. So I want the primary enemy to die, which is the bat there. But now we're going to win this fight. That's okay, though, because a new one will spawn. And we'll catch this one. Good. Okay, good. Snake is dead. Snake is still dead. Problem solved. We did it. Okay, so if you lost, make your character respawn. Oh, that's not the thing we had. Your life should persist between battles. Yep, 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 done. Allow for resting after a battle. We'll save that for remaining gameplay tasks we need to do. I think the rest part is also really important for the prototype. I think it's more important to get to the point where we've got skills in the game. So delete this. And the next one is make sure that when you win a battle but sustain losses, you don't start the next battle with 8 slimes. That's done. And iframes are not going to be important. So cool. Are the iframes ever important? I kind of don't think so. Like, for the final game, it's important, but for the prototype, I don't think it matters too much. Like, so what if you get into 3 battles in a row? You'll just be like, oh, this is frustrating, and you'll tell me about it. That probably sounds dismissive, but I didn't mean it that way. I mean, it's okay to have feedback that gets reported that then I act on. In fact, actually, this is something I never really thought about, which is at some point this prototype will be done, and we'll do testing on it. Or like play testing, I guess, not like bug testing. And then people will give feedback. How many like update rounds should I have and still get feedback? And I guess this will be clear in the future. So if people in the first round of feedback say something like, you know what, the game seems good, I would buy this, then it doesn't really matter if they say there's something frustrating about it because it was already a buy. If people are like, well, I'm on the fence, if enough people say that, and they're like, if you fix these things, then I guess we could do that. It shows a dodge mechanic, I thought, for the iframes. What do you mean, Drillance? To be clear, when I say iframes here, because I'm not really using this properly, I guess, I'll show you what's happening in the game right now. So right now, let's say you get into a battle. So now I'm this character on the overworld. When this battle's done, there are like 4 other enemies around me, so I immediately get into a new fight. So those are the iframes I'm talking about, where it's like when you get out of a fight, you can walk around like through enemies, even though you really shouldn't be able to do that normally. And I think it's important for the final game, but I don't think it's important for the prototype. This brings me to another question, which is, should we delete collision on the players while you're in a battle? I probably should. Is Ennis? Yeah, I'll write that in polish somewhere. Clean up stuff. Oops, wrong edit. There we go. So we're right here. Consider removing the collision of a player and an enemy when they're in a battle. Yeah, the enemy part is more important for sure. Yeah, no, not consider. I think it should just be removed. Imagine that there's a bottleneck somewhere in the game that your own characters can't move past because you're in a fight in a doorway. Yeah. Hey, DevNull. Latest verse ever? Yeah, probably 55 minutes. I'm not sure. Not a lot of people have been using that. Is it good for Godot 4.2? Enough has changed where I'd probably just say seek out someone's tutorial that's for Godot 4. But a lot of the core concepts are the same. So if you want to just watch the first video and, you know, absorb what you can and not necessarily follow along, I think you'll still learn stuff about Godot that's applicable. But then, yeah, a lot of little things I talk about, like using an external editor back in 2020 was just a bad idea. There were too many rough edges, and now it's like mostly fine. There's still some rough edges, but it's not too bad anymore. And then certain things you did with like callbacks are handled differently, well, slightly differently. Names of classes have changed. So back then there was kinematic body 2D, and I guess this has been changed to like character body or something, or maybe character body 2D. I'm not sure. So little things have changed, nothing major, but it may still be worth it to just find someone else's tutorial at this point. So we're done with this. Handle end of battle effects, close. I think we'll check this in. Makes sense for iframes then, even for something that's being implemented in a prototype. At least gives the character something available from being entirely overwhelmed. To me, that is. Well, so there's one other thing to consider here, I guess, which is, where is this? Enemy, what did I call this? Overworld character, yeah. Okay, so the other thing to consider here is right now all the enemies are kind of grouping up on top of each other, but imagine something like this. So this zone is relatively big and there are only 4 enemies and they're all moving randomly. So like, what are the odds that they all stack up on top of you? And same thing over here, 4 enemies in this zone too. Whereas what I had originally was like 10, which makes this pretty packed, and they were all like running toward the upper left. So anyway, for the sake of the prototype, you know, like I said, if people complain or if I'm like, I kind of want to fix this, I don't mind doing it. But for the sake of just getting to the point where I think we have most of the gameplay systems in place, I want to move past this for now. Honestly, it's probably not even that hard to change. We just don't allow collisions for the first, 2 seconds after a battle. I should probably just coded it rather than talking about it. But you never totally know. Maybe it does end up taking longer. Okay, so enemy overworld character. I'm going to undo this. And we're just not going to touch that. This we're also going to undo back to 10. Okay, so we added in floating text. We got this thing. This is strongly coupled, but I just don't really care right now. Okay, so abilities actually do something now. And I automated battles. Take turn. Yeah. Okay, so I want to check in everything except for this. Okay, so fix up some battle stuff. Added floating text with the result of a battle. Player abilities now actually do damage. What else? Characters that die in battle are removed from persistence. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's go check that. Or, well, not check that in, but push, I guess. All right, so what's next? It is ability tooltips. I don't think we need that till we actually have abilities. So I guess it's skill trees. Well, okay, there are 2 things we could do. We could either do skill trees, which honestly are probably going to be just a bunch of buttons laid out. And, oh, speaking of which, do I have this in cleanup stuff? Yeah, actual buttons. This would probably allow me to have left click move the camera again, since I think the GUI would get input before the camera would. Yeah, maybe write a note about this. Okay, so skill trees are ways of choosing abilities, but we don't technically actually have abilities in the game. Right now, wait, what? Oh, yeah. Right now, they're literally just strings. There's nothing to them. There's no damage. There's no description. There's no like cooldown information. They're just strings. And it's not like we're choosing which of these are we going to do for the prototype. We're doing both of them. Just what's the order we're doing them in. And I feel like we should probably go with the ability system first, maybe. where's the design document for this? Here. Okay, so direct physical damage, single target, multi-target, chance to miss. None of these are all that interesting, to be honest. I think these are probably more interesting. Maybe we should just code the mage at first. Yeah, the mage has like a little bit of everything. Damage over time, a buff. It just doesn't have a summon. I guess the rogue has everything. Poison is damage over time. It has a summon. It has a buff. It has a single target effect. It doesn't have any multi-target effect, right? No, it doesn't. All right, well, it doesn't really matter. As long as we can get most of this stuff. Also, multi-target effects are probably not too bad to do. So I think the next step would be allow for different abilities to exist. And getting that system to work would probably be a pretty big undertaking. Because I want to save off all the different abilities, their information, have that information show up in the UI, and have some way of using it in battle that just kind of works. Yeah. I think I'm leaning toward this because skill trees don't really mean anything if you don't have ability information. So yeah, I think we work on the ability system. Do we have this written down somewhere? Nope. Yeah, no, we don't. Okay, well, let's add it. Add the ability system. Okay, so how's this gonna work? Did I write down anything about this? Yeah, ability button, and an ability that has a use or some way of getting a description. Well, let's just write down a bunch of things. Make an ability class that represents an ability. It should take in, it should have functions for getting a tooltip and for using the ability in battle. Should also have data like the cooldown, the name, etc. Okay, make it so that all enemies are using abilities, even if it's just like attack ability. That should probably not have a cooldown. Enemies probably shouldn't, well, there should still be cooldowns. I think it'd be cool if an enemy just randomly picked an ability and it might have a very strong ability that it can only use once every like 30 seconds. No, I think enemies should eventually have AI that makes them pick their abilities a little bit differently. But the naive way of doing this is just pick a random one. And yeah. Using abilities, even just that. That should probably not have a cooldown, but enemies should be able to respect a cooldown property. All right, functions for getting a tooltip and for using the ability in battle, and then like grant abilities to each class. Maybe just make each ability do a set amount of damage to X targets. 1, 2, or 3 targets for testing. What else? What else? What else? What else? Then populate the battle window with the equipped abilities. I think this is it. I can't think if there's something I'm missing. Let's go look at the design and figure it out. Abilities, where are you? Here, you can have 3 active ability slots. Abilities, oh yeah, so abilities can be passive as well. We could call those something else. Like abilities could always be active abilities, and then there could be a passive one, but we still need some way of indicating how the passive one works. So they'd still need a tooltip and damage and everything. I guess there just wouldn't be a use on it. Let me think about this. So active abilities would have a use function. Passives would need some kind of event system. Do you know how they work? Like on start of battle, on, about to be attacked or something. Yeah. So, all right, I'm kind of thinking about something like this. We have ability, which has name and description and maybe some way of getting a tooltip or something like that. And then we have active ability, which adds a use function. And we have passive ability, which has the whole event system. So equipped abilities would just be your active abilities. Would you ever have a reason for turning off a passive ability? I guess you could. Yeah, I guess you could. Maybe the Berserker class has like a regeneration ability or something that you want to turn off so that you stay a low life. I don't know. I shouldn't worry about that too much. I think it's mostly this that I want to do. Event-based functions like this and this. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is fine. Now, getting a description, this would be based on a character. If the character doesn't have the ability, then it would show whatever level 1 of that ability does. And then, yeah, I guess we also have a level of the ability. Yeah, or number of points invested. Okay, I think this would be good. And then we'd have things like, what do we have? Like slash extends active ability. And its use would just be something like battle character. It'd be something like find target, deal damage. It would also probably need to take in the battle window itself. And yeah, that's probably it. Okay, I think the system will be good to start with. And we'll kind of see where we go. So make an ability class that represents an... What just happened? Well, let's create this before I lose it. Also, something's kind of weird here. There's no edit button right here. Like there's no pencil. I can click here and I can go to edit. But why on some of these... This is going to show that I'm crazy right now. I am nearly positive one of these had a pencil button on it. Okay, apparently not. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I got that idea. Huh. Maybe it's when I middle click it? Yeah, no, there it is. Yeah. Oh, I see. When you're on the proper issues UI, it's got an edit button. When you're in projects, you don't have an edit button. That's so weird because I want that to be there so I can edit this quickly, but it's not. Can I press E or something? Toggle edit for the focus cell. It's too bad. Okay, an ability that represents an ability should have function for getting a tooltip. Yeah, it should have a function for getting a tooltip. and data like cooldown, no, not even cooldown. Cooldown would only be on an active ability. No, I guess passives could have a cooldown built in as well. Oh, no, that's probably based on the, no, yeah, so it should have a name, a level. What else did I say? And a function for getting the tooltip based on a character. Overworld character has primary character data here. I guess that's what we really care about. What do we care about battle character for? Kind of nothing. No, we do care about this. Yeah, I think I'd have to take in character data. And so when you're in a battle, it could take in a different thing than what we have outside of a battle. That projects command is from a long time ago. Yeah. Oh, I guess the command says that. But yeah, these were from when I started doing Atom Learns back in 2020. Got a lot done. All right, so then make active ability and passive ability. All right, so active ones have use and a cooldown. Active ones have a use function and a cooldown. Passive ones have an event system that we're not going to touch for now. Then grant abilities to each class. Maybe just make each ability, so grant active abilities, I guess. Maybe make each ability do a set amount of damage to X targets for testing. We should probably do passive abilities at some point, but that I think we'll get to in the content section. Populate the battle window with the equipped abilities, make it so all enemies using abilities even attack. Yeah, okay. I think that's our set of tasks. I am delayed on taking my break, so I think we need to go take a break. Let's also see, right now it's 9:42. I have the mentoring at 11. So if I take a break now, come back, take a break in about an hour. Yeah. All right, I just gotta be really careful about my next break time. I want to make sure I have enough time for take next break at 10:45. Yeah. All right. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Oh, hey, Wendy, I hadn't actually fully stepped away just yet, but I'm on break right now. Thank you very much for the raid. Anyone who hasn't seen this before, you can type join right now, and you can play Jump Royale. So, join it up, type J and then a number. But I hope you enjoy the orchestra tonight, Wendy. I'm going to go take my break. I'll be back, and then we'll continue working on some game dev stuff and then doing mentoring. So, yeah, be right back. All right, hey again, everybody. Sorry to bail on the Raiders as soon as people came in, but if you're still here, I'll show you the game I'm working on. Close the game. And man, that hasn't been reliable. Close the game. All right. Well, I'm not closing this manually. I'm going to try one more time. Close the game. There we go. Yeah, I need some like obvious fallback phrase for that. Anyway, game that we're working on here is called Idle Ascendance for now. That's a working title. We're working toward a prototype of this pretty much as quickly as possible to figure out if the game's going to even be fun. So hang on a second. The way that this works is you start with one character, and this is supposed to be the world map. But like I said, it's a prototype, so everything looks kind of, stupid right now. And so you'll move around the world map. You'll get into fights with enemies, and you can pick an ability to use, and it'll use the ability. So typical kind of like turn-based combat. But eventually you will start automating your character. So for example, you see that my character is not actually like, I don't have to pick anything right now. It's just going to automatically fight. That'll eventually be how all of your characters get to be, where they're just choosing an ability on their own. And so we're about to add the ability system into the game, because right now the way that all of these are coded is just always do, I think, 85 damage on one enemy, no matter what is picked. And every character has just these same like kind of set of abilities. How did I get where was the game? Yeah, I don't know. So I've been working on this now for, a few days, I guess? When did I start exactly? Yeah, so on the 18th. So yeah, Monday of this week is when I started working on this. And so yeah, all the progress you see is from that. It's not great, right? Like the game is not great. I mean, the progress I think is pretty great for that amount of time. But yeah, so we're going to go code the proper ability system. And I have just enough time to get a little bit of this done, but definitely not the whole thing. So in about an hour, it's going to be mentoring with Peter. And then probably another hour after that will be lunch. And then after that will be maybe like 3 to 4 hours of dev. So yeah, we'll see how far we can get. So make an ability class that represents an ability. It should have a name, a level, and a function for getting the tooltip based on character data. Yeah. All right, so this is just going to be a script that we don't have anything else associated with. Close out of all these things that we have. Do I have anything else that's in that same vein? I guess animated character sprite. No, probably not actually. Character data. I guess character data is the closest one to it. So I think I want to do something that's just like this. So let's just save this as ability. Yeah. Okay, so an ability has a name, and the name should never change. And then it has, what else did I say? A level. And I think that's pretty much it for now. Yeah. Now you can't join from YouTube playing Jump Royale. Also, the game is now over. But hi. Such a small scripts folder reminds me of the good old days. Yeah. It's not a lot going on here yet. Okay, so here's ability. Now we want to make active ability. And this is going to be, can we say extends ability? No, we don't do that here. We do that here. Cyclic inheritance. What? I think the problem is maybe Godot need to be reopened, because that should not be cyclic inheritance. Okay, let's see. Is it still complaining if I hit retry over here? Okay, no, it looks like it's good. So character data had an init. I guess we still kind of want the same general thing, at least for active ability. What does make sense here to instantiate this with? Probably the character that owns this. Actually, maybe instantiating this doesn't make sense. It could just be static. All right, I need to think about something. So list of equipped abilities could actually just be ability data, which is an ID plus level and nothing else. Yeah, so okay, I think that's a better way of doing this. I think we just exchange this for an ID and we go make a bunch of like ability IDs somewhere. I have constants. We could just make the ability IDs be here. GD script enum. Did we put it after the class names line? Class name line? I see, yeah. I always have it at the top of everything. You can have folders, yeah. And I think everything is just based on class name. So I don't think the folders actually matter too much unless you're going to add a script at runtime and then you need a path to it. What? Constants. Put all the keys inside a constant dictionary. Huh, interesting. These two things are basically the same. Okay, well, let's get this. Ability IDs. So we're going to have, I guess, attack is going to be the only real one, or like debug attack. Yeah. This is an ability IDs corresponds to ability IDs. All right, yeah, and I want to write that down too, that characters have some ability data. Grant active abilities to each class. Probably do this via ability, what did I call this? I like the name of whatever I came up with. Ability data. Not really, I guess. It's more like a, well, I don't know, whatever, fine. Ability data, just an ID plus level combo for now. It's a function for getting a tooltip. Yeah, so here's what I was thinking. There is going to be... Actually, wait a second. Does this even make sense? Oh, man, this doesn't make sense. Oh, you can use this? Oh, man, that wasn't possible before. Wow, yeah, that wasn't possible before. Thank you, Banana Kind. Did I write this down? Yeah. In Godot 4, it's possible to have enums be their own types, e.g. ID ability IDs, yeah. Hey, Rust. Anything else that I had here? No, this is pretty much it. Only briefly coming up for air. Better there than the salt mines. So I'm still a little torn on how I want to do this because I don't think instantiating an ability ever really makes sense. They're all just blobs of data. So I think they should all just be static functions somewhere, which kind of implies that there's no reason to even have inheritance really, I guess. Is that true? No, that's not necessarily true. They would have data associated with them. The ability cooldowns could be kept elsewhere. Their current values. They have a cooldown reset thing though. All right, I'm still torn on how I want to handle this. I want to think about this some more. What did I do? Okay, how about this? Let's jot some things down here. So, ignoring the init thing here, we would eventually have use for this, and it would take in a whole bunch of stuff about like character info. And this may be something, and maybe like battle info. This is just me sketching things. So we might say something like, this may be whatever, like lightning zaps.gd. And so we'd say something like const targets equals 8, and then like, or num targets, and then var targets equals like battle.get targets, num targets enemy, and whether or not we want repeats to be allowed, I guess. I don't know, that sort of thing can happen. And then deal damage to them. Deal damage targets 50, something like that. What this might actually be doing is creating like projectiles that'll deal damage. And I think that is something we'll need to think about in the future, but that won't affect this ability stuff. So, okay, if we have this as use here, then how would we end up using this thing if we had ability data? So let's say we have like ability data is an ID and a level. Actually, this could just be static, right? And it pulls the number of targets from like character info.get level of ability ID. Yeah. Yeah, I think everything can just be static here. So then what if there is some information I need to save? Like a passive ability that has a cooldown associated with it. I don't want to store all that information in the character. I probably want to store it in the ability. And that's where I was thinking instantiating these would be a good idea. I don't know. Maybe there'd be an active ability to be like that. Yeah, like how? Yeah, I think that's true. I think we would have to just make this a regular function, and that way we could have any data belonging to an ability could be stored in the ability itself. So, for example, imagine something where it's like, I don't know, fireball does 5 damage, +1 for each use in a battle. So this means that you need to be storing how often this was used, and where you store it should probably just be in the ability itself. And then each character who has fireball would be storing its own data associated with this. Yeah. I mean, this would work. There is another way you could do this. You could still make this static, and you could have something inside character info that just becomes a dumping ground for this stuff. You have like dot ability persistence, dot, fireball uses +=1 or something like that. I think this is kind of silly because we're relying on an external class for storing this stuff. And also this would be pretty weakly typed because we just need a dictionary of whatever random garbage that the ability wants. So yeah, I think this is a reason to instantiate abilities. So we are going to instantiate abilities, and they could have their level in them. Wouldn't that be fine to cut corners for now? It would. However, this is one of those systems where even for the prototype, I wanted there to be like 18 abilities. And so I need to make sure that however I'm cutting corners, I can code the rest of these relatively quickly. So if I were making literally 1 or 2 abilities, I'd be like, yeah, this is fine, just do whatever. But I want to make sure that this is at least like usable. So we need to find a good mixture of fast and good. So yeah, I think I'm leaning more toward this, and then the ability itself has any information it needs. Let me just store that here, like var num uses this battle equals 0. And we could have some like initializer at the beginning of a battle. Func init battle started on battle start. And it could do something like, yeah, num uses this battle. Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is the style I want. I was just debating on what if you actually passed in here like set battle and you took in a battle thing here, and then here you could just connect it to whatever you want. Connect to started, and have some, self-down on battle started, and then do this in there. Probably most of them are going to have some on battle start to initialize themselves. So setting up a signal for that is just extra work, but it's an idea that I think would be fine. And I'll write this here in this, just at the bottom. Idea for how we can do events with abilities. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So are we storing the level inside the ability itself? The character info would have that information. I don't know if it's worth getting it from character info, character data. Yeah, known abilities and equipped abilities. All right, for now, I'm going to store the level inside the ability. Yeah. Level int. And I guess 1 by default. Corresponds to the ability IDs in enum. We don't need to write that anymore. So it has an ID, a name, and a level. And then this extends from that, and we want to set some things in here that we're going to eventually get to. Let's just comment all that out for now. All right, so where do we stand with this? Just have a name, a level, and a function for getting the tooltip. Yeah, there should be a get tooltip in here. Func get tooltip. I'll just return it this way, like %s level %d. Okay. Oh, it's based on character data. Right, character data, character data. And I'll say for class %s. And we'll take that from the character data thing. Why is this expanding this outward like this? Class name is not present. Oh, right, it's character class. There we go. Okay, there's that. So I think we're good. And now make active ability and passive ability. Active ones have a use function and a cooldown. Passive ones have an event system we're not going to touch for now. So the cooldowns are currently stored in the battle itself, I think. But this wasn't really intentional. Although something does need to keep track. What I want to do. We're going to eventually instantiate that there are some abilities here. And they can just track their own cooldowns, I guess. In fact, I don't think this should be here probably at all. We use set details cooldown. Cooldown equals cooldown reset. I don't think this should be here. I think an ability button should just be given an ability. Yeah, I think we delete this line now. Probably give an ability button an instance of an ability. It can manage the cooldown itself. No, it can't. The ability needs to know the cooldown. The cooldowns persist between battles. Abilities should probably have that information. Okay, well, we'll get to that part eventually. Yeah. So as far as whether a cooldown should be stored here, I don't care yet. So we have a use function in each ability, in each active ability. So this will have func use, and it should take in a bunch of stuff. And I don't know exactly what yet. So let's just have it be character data, which is a character data, the battle window, which is the battle window. And that's probably it. Then I want this to be overridden by an ability. So let's go make a new ability. And we'll call this debug attack ability. So this extends active ability. And it is going to be debug attack ability. All right, so now its use is going to be whatever we had in the battle itself. So whatever it was, it did like 85 damage. Here it is. This is use attack ability. So let's copy paste this. And should ideally work. So we need, I'll just call this battle. So battle.pick targets. Pick targets is then public, which means that this also needs to go like that. Anywhere else that this exists? No. Okay, so battle.pick targets. Now, battle character, what is that? We don't have a way of getting that, do we? No, maybe that's what should be passed in. Probably. Yeah, probably. Because abilities are only used in battle. Battle character. Does it seem like format on save has prevented the white space changes? I'm not sure because I didn't really know what triggered it to begin with. Every once in a while I would do something and then Godot would actually take the focus. And I don't think that's happened, but I can't say that I've stopped it from happening. It happened yesterday, but then I made a change to something based on what someone in chat had suggested. And maybe it stopped and maybe it didn't. But yeah, I don't know if it's happened yet. All right, so target, battle ended. We can't do this. Yeah, the battle itself needs to know that a character takes damage. So I think we'd have to do it this way, like battle dot deal damage, target 85. This is going to be replaced by projectiles eventually, I'm guessing. And then all of this stuff needs to be deleted from here. So this is pretty simple if you think about it. It's like this is an attack ability, and look at it. It's pick a target and then deal damage to that target. Easy peasy. We eventually probably want projectiles or some sort of effects or something, but we don't have those yet. So now this is where we get a deal damage. This is going to be what? Yeah, target and a damage amount. Target and a damage amount. Cool. Okay, now there was a break here that I can't have. That won't work exactly. So I guess we only want to deal damage while the target or while the battle's still ongoing. And so this should probably know if the battle ended or not and just do nothing if the battle has ended already. Because how does this work? This will just free itself immediately. But what I'm concerned about is this. Let's say we had, I don't know, let's say this was in a for loop and I was like, deal damage 10 times to the same enemy. And after one time, the battle's just over. What's going to happen after that? And probably it's that something's going to break. Let's see what would happen. So we do target life minus equal damage, target update life bar, and then we'll do character died, which will queue free the target. It's just target.delete, yeah, which does queue free, yeah. So deal damage could check to see is the battle over. But then I guess pretty much, yeah, I'm going to do that. Is finished. Battle ended. True. Deal damage now does if is finished return. Cool. All right. So there's our thing. Now, delete all that stuff. Deal damage not found. I mean, it's this stuff I think is just like I need to reload this. Does reloading fix this? That would at least be a little bit faster. It looks like it did. Function signature doesn't match the parent. Yes, that is correct. It does not. Because active ability has the wrong thing here. GD script abstract function. Does this exist? Nope. Okay. I don't, is this even polymorphic? Like if I call, it must be. I guess we'll find out eventually. All right, now what? Where do we stand with this? All right, so grant active abilities. Thank you, Krasner. Grant active abilities each class. Probably give an ability button an instance of an ability. So how about we actually just start using this thing, debug attack ability, inside the battle. So this use attack ability is going to change. We're going to do var debug attack ability equals this .new, and then use it with the battle character and self. And that just should be it. We should just be able to delete this. So battles should still work, but now they're technically going through abilities. Well, I lost, I guess. Yeah, looks like it's working. Cool. Yeah, nice. That was not so bad. So now grant active abilities to each class, probably give an ability button. Okay, so for this to work, we need a few different abilities. And I wrote this here, maybe make each ability just do a set amount of damage. So let's go to constants.ability IDs, and let's go make a few new abilities here. We'll call it like kill 1. Well, maybe we should preface these with debug. Debug, kill, I guess like attack 1, attack 2, and debug attack 3 maybe. Yeah. Okay, so now all of these would be abilities that we need to save somewhere. So we really should make a new folder at this point. New folder, abilities. All right, so this is going to be debug attack 2 ability. Do I want to do this? Yeah, I think I want to do this. And this just picks 2 targets. And then we say the same thing as debug attack 3. And this picks 3 targets. All right. Now, before we move on, let's go save debug attack ability. Let's go save this inside of the abilities folder. And then delete this. And even these should probably go in there. Yeah, I think so. And maybe I just make like a base class folder. Yeah, I'll make base here. We'll put these over there. And you know what? As long as we're at this, let's make a debug folder too. There. Okay. I think that's good. So I shouldn't need to change anything. Maybe just reload the project. And then I think the abilities should work the way they just did. Also, how am I doing on time? Yeah, I got half an hour. All right, right? Everything's fine? Yeah, good. Everything's fine. So now let's make it so that you can attack multiple enemies at once, which means that in the battle window, we need to load in which abilities you really have. Which means that when we make your character, okay, yeah, there's a lot to do here. So grant active abilities to each class. So that was one task on its own, which we haven't done. Then populate, oh, here it is. Yeah, populate the battle window with the equipped abilities. And make it so that all enemies. Or using abilities. Okay, let's go try this out. So where do we make your overworld character? There. Add overworld character. Yeah, here it is. So create enemy overworld character. So when we make your player overworld character, we're going to need to give it some abilities. Yeah, this. The overworld character doesn't actually have that stuff, though. It just has a primary character data. And that's what's going to contain the abilities. Oh, no, wait. That's not smart. Yeah, that's not smart. It's when we call add character data that should know which abilities it has. Yeah. So where's that? Here. Just append character data. Where do we make this? Character data.new. So it knows in its constructor what to do. Ah, okay, good. Then yes, let's do this here somehow. So we'll say that known abilities. How do you add to a dictionary in here? Maybe like this. Constants.debug. What I call this? Funky Monkey, 1 year. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome back. How's it going for you today? Having a good Friday? So debug attack equals, and we need to make a new ability. So debug attack ability dot new. How did I do this in the battle window? I think like that. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Sam Griffin. Look at all these VIPs. Okay, and then we want to equip all of your known abilities at this point. And this should be an array of, what's it called? Constants.ability IDs. Which now made me realize that this needs to have this here. Thanon, thank you too for resubbing. I've had better weeks, to be honest. Put an offer in on a house and lost out again. It's the 5th house we've lost out on. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I think searching for a job, searching for housing, I don't think it's ever really fun. Or maybe if it is, it only starts out fun. Well, I wish you luck. I feel like you could use a hood or a beanie. All right, so we're going to equip all the ones that you know. Can we iterate over a dictionary's keys in Godot in GDScript? Dictionary. Check if key exists. Remove a pair from the dictionary. Get probably just iterating over like dot keys or something, but I don't know where it is. All right, well, let's look it up. GDScript iterate over, yeah, iterate dictionary. Hey, element. Here we go. Okay, so it's just, yeah, for in. Okay, so for ability ID in known abilities, we're going to just say equipped abilities dot append. Oh, it has no static type, right? So this is going to be, ooh, this is technically going to be a constants.ability IDs, but am I not like that? Oh no, it's fine. This is where proper generics would be pretty nice. All right, so we've just added in a known ability for every class that is just debug attack. In the case that your character is the warrior. Wait a second, what did this do? Warrior power 15, fortitude 15, speed 5. I'm just curious what it thinks that these classes would have for stats. It's pretty interesting. It made the rogue pretty fast and have low power or medium power and fortitude. Mage has low fortitude and high power. Anyway, not what I wanted. I wanted to just get any of the character classes for now. Or character class equals mage or character class equals rogue. Then for that, we're going to add in 2 more abilities. And I guess we put this down at the bottom. So this is going to be debug attack 2. debug attack ability, debug attack 2 ability. Oh, by the way, while I'm doing this, abilities should know their own ID, and I don't have that anywhere, right? Yeah, there should be an init here that at least tells you what the ID is. Constants.ability IDs. The name is going to be pulled from a constant, I suppose. Self.name equals... I don't know where we're going to get this from. I don't know. Let's just have the name come from the child class anyway, too. All right. So we set this stuff. I don't like the whole error about shadowing, so I just put val at the end of these. And then I'm going to assume the AI can fill that in for me. Good. All right. So now we need all of the debug abilities to call into this. So init. And I think we can call into the superclass constants.abilityIDs.debug attack. And we'll call this, we'll call it debug attack. It doesn't need a great name. All right, so now what's the problem? Oh, this. Okay, so this is going to be in each of these. Debug attack 2. And then 3. That. Oops, I see. I picked the wrong thing originally. All right, so this should have been debug attack 3. That's all. Yeah, it does. It does look like Python, and I guess they wanted to shift away from that so that people didn't think it was Python. Yeah, it is very, very similar. Doesn't show how long they've been subscribed. It does for Twitch subs. A bit weird. I could look into that. I'm not sure. I'm doing the alerts through Twitch itself, so maybe there's something I can customize for that, or maybe I just did things really quickly when I was starting out. Not sure. Okay, so now we have all this stuff. So we can't... Wait a second. I knew it. The tab sizes are different. How did that happen? What? How did that happen? Huh. Strange. All right, so where was I? In the character data? Yeah, so if you're a warrior, mage, or rogue, you get this and this. 3 and 3. Now, the way this really should be done is something like add ability, and we just pass in an ability. And then here's where we can say that it's known. So this can be ability.id equals ability. And that way we don't need to worry too much about this. And then we just call add ability with the new one of these and the new one of these. 3. Good. Then we equip all the abilities. So everyone's going to have debug attack, and then the main characters will have debug attack 2 and debug attack 3. And I think we'll be good there. So then in the battle window, we're currently just, yeah, this. Ability names equals an array of these. This is not good. So we're going to uncomment the code I wrote a while ago. Primary character data. We already have this. This should only be done after we've set... Ooh, where does this happen? In init, maybe? What do I call this thing? Primary player... Yeah, this. Where are you set? Ah, and add characters to battle. Okay, cool. So we can use that. So we just delete this thing entirely, and we replace this here with this. Oh, wait, I guess we want it to be primary character data. Yeah, so fine. Character data. Okay. So known abilities and equipped abilities. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the equipped abilities and get the ability names from those. So for ability in equipped abilities. That's it. We actually don't need known abilities here. For in it's used but never assigned a value. I guess I need to make it an empty thing. And now can't find property name on base string. This isn't a... What's going wrong here? Oh, these are just IDs. Oh, right. So we do need to know the known abilities. Oh, whoops. Okay. So this is ability ID. And now the ability we get from known abilities, ability ID. And then the name we get from, oh, actually, we get it from this still. And then we just stop making typos. And I think we should be good. Ability has no static type. It should be an ability. Okay, does that work? So now the ability button should say debug attack and debug attack 2 and 3. Nice. And actually, they might even work. Let's make, how do we do this? Let's make your character invincible or like close to invincible. So in this case, we'll set max life equal to 9999 and then life equal to 9999. And so now you pretty much can't die. Let's delete all of your slimes. So these will all go away. And then let's not force an attack. So this will be set to false. All right, let's try that out. So to see if abilities work now, once it's my turn, I can pick one of these abilities. And if I click 3, it should attack 3 different enemies. It did not. And I know why not, because I am forcing it to always use debug attack ability here. Yeah. So we need to use the ability you actually chose. And this doesn't have a way of doing that because I never bothered. So we get the ability button. We want to get which equipped ability that was, which this is definitely prototype level code, but let's put this here. So we get your known abilities, which we need to copy paste even more. We're going to need to fix this before we check in. We get your known abilities, we get your equipped abilities, we get the ID of the one that you used. So the ability ID, which is a, ooh, what are we doing on time here? Okay, good, that's still fine. Equals equipped ability index, good. All right, we get the ID, then we need to get the ability from that. Then we need to use that ability. Cannot find ability, oh, it's ability IDs, right? I think so. And then we need to use that ability. How do we do that? Ability.use. Easy peasy. Okay. This is an active ability. Yeah. Now, why is this a problem? Cannot assign a value of type string to ability ID. It thinks this is an array of strings. It's not. Yeah, it's not. I changed that, right? Yeah, I changed it. Okay, well, we can probably just run this anyway. Okay, does it work? Does it work? Does it work? It worked. We had 3 enemies. Wow, this went way faster than I thought. Yeah, so we can attack 1 enemy, we can attack 2 enemies, and we can attack 3 enemies. Now, what happens if we attack 3 when there aren't 3? Oh my god, come on. Seriously? There's a 1/3 chance that that was not going to do what I wanted it to do. Okay, so what happens if we hit this? Nice. Player gains 5 experience. Wow. This is fantastic. Yeah, this is great. And like I said, way faster than I expected it to be. So grant active abilities to each class. Maybe just make these debug ones. Yep. Populate the battle window with the equipped ability. Make it so that all enemies are using abilities, even if it's just attack ability. Technically, this is true, but not because they have it equipped. It should pull from their equipped ones. Art styles giving heavy botland vibes. I feel like they're distinct enough art styles, I guess. I know they're both grid-based games, but when I look at the botland art style, yeah, I feel like there was more attention to the details because they were bigger than 24 by 24. But yeah, I guess once they were at this size, they looked a little bit more similar. But they were all robots. They weren't medieval fantasy characters. But more like the battlefield layout and the health bars. Oh yeah, that's true. All right, so what we got to change this to is Make it so that enemies are using equipped abilities. Yeah. All right, and then we need to pull cooldown data. Pull cooldown data from the abilities themselves. What am I missing? And then make enemies respect cooldowns. Is that even? They should just randomly pick one that is ready to be used. Okay, so what does it mean if an enemy can't use an ability? Yeah, if there isn't one, they should wait longer on their turn. They're different kinds of metal, CM Griffin. You know anything about medieval fantasy. Robot metal is smart. Make it so that all enemies using equipped abilities randomly pick one. If there isn't one, they should wait longer on their turn, just like the player does. Pull cooldown data from the ability itself. Make enemies respect cooldowns. I think we're going to do that. And then probably give an ability button an instance of an ability. You can manage the cooldown itself. Cooldowns persist between battles, so abilities should have that information. Yeah. Okay. All right, do we have time to pursue this? I want to take a break in about 10 minutes, and then mentoring starts in 27 minutes. So in 10 minutes, yeah, we could get enemies to use equipped abilities. I mean, that shouldn't be that hard. Randomly pick one that's ready to be used. If there isn't one, they should wait longer on their turn. Okay, so battle window. Right now, I'm still leaning forward. Right now, we have take turn, and we use that like attack ability here. Yeah, this. How does this work? Your own characters do this too? Process characters. Take turn. Wait for player to have usable ability. Oh, I think. Wait a second. Is the player character attacking twice? No. Why aren't they attacking twice though? It looks like the code should make them do that. If this is your primary character, then wait for player to have use. Oh, this doesn't actually use an ability, I guess. No, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Set is ready. And then if we're paused, we go into a totally different thing. Yeah, this done waiting for player to use ability. Okay, so player abilities go through a totally different everything, I guess. Hey, Grace, it's going well. Made some good progress. Once we get the ability system in place, then we can make skill trees and let you expand on those abilities, and then we can add in a lot of different abilities and the classes, and then the player-wide skill tree. Actually, that's something I didn't really plan for, was a player-wide skill tree, but we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, we're making good progress. So this is where your player abilities get funneled through, which means in take turn, I probably want to just return from here no matter what. It's just a weird way of doing things. But I think otherwise this is fine. So now instead of use attack ability, it's going to be like choose ability to use or something. Choose ability to use. Well, let's just put it in this function for now. All right, how do we do this? So we have attack ability somewhere. This is only ever called from that one spot. So let's just delete this completely and put this here for now. And then delete that too. And then this is always assuming that you have this, but it's not going to work that way anymore. We're going to just randomly pick an equipped ability. And we're going to do this the same way I guess we did this down here. Now there is literally no cooldown information here, so this will not work completely, but Plunk, pick random usable ability. Battle character. We're gonna make me type this out? Fine, AI. Fine. I'm giving you dumb medieval armor. All right, so we pull this from here. This is just gonna be called character data. Ability IDs, pick a random one. So equipped abilities dot, what's it called? Pick random, yeah. And then get the ability and then use the ability. And that's it. But this is not picking a random ability. I guess this is also using it. So I suppose if there are no usable ones, okay, this doesn't check for usability at all. Yeah, that's the problem. All right, I'll just write to do check to see if the ability is usable. So this will return an active ability, and we'll just return that here. Return, put this up here. Get the ability. Active ability equals pick. And then if ability is equal to null, then battle character cannot take turn. Otherwise, ability.use. And took turn. Okay, I think the enemies will now attack with the ability that I gave them. So now that attack ability thing should just be gone. It looks like it is gone. Why is this still showing up then? What happened to the rapidly part in the title? I think this is going fast. So now enemies should attack me. Yeah, good. So here's now how we can test this. We can go give the enemies an even stronger ability or something. Is there, yeah, this is probably not smart. All right, let's not do this. Let's just manage the list and then take a break and then get ready for mentoring. So make it so that all enemies are using equipped abilities. They should randomly pick one that's ready to be used. If there isn't one, they should wait longer. So this is kind of working. Pull cooldown data from abilities themselves. And then I guess it's like, make sure enemies are respecting cooldowns. Test this by making debug 3 do no damage and debug 1 insta kill, and then give debug 1 a very long cooldown and make sure enemies use it as soon as the cooldown is up. Oh wait, it can't be insta kill. Make debug 1 do whatever. Yeah, we don't even need to modify the damage. Okay, good. And then ability can manage cooldown stuff. Yeah. Wow. Great. Then we should probably work on passive abilities at some point because that system doesn't exist. Maybe we add like one passive ability and teach it to your character. Add a passive ability just to make sure the foundation of the system is in place. All right. We're in good shape. Okay, so I got to take a break. We're going to then pivot to mentoring and then probably just take a lunch break. So yeah, soon mentoring, then lunch, and after is going to be like 3 to 4 hours of game dev still. And we're probably going to do more about the ability system and then the skill trees maybe. And I don't know. Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to what I envisioned this being. Yeah. I'm pretty happy. All right. Yeah, it's going fast. Just not according to Sarah. All right, so let's play some Jump Royale. I'll be back in a little bit. Is it jump time? Every once in a while, it just doesn't do anything. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hi again. Close the game. Let's go prep for mentoring. Actually, it's a little early, I think. But I mean, not too much. Yeah, it's not too early. Okay. Mentoring prep. Let's open this up. All right, so switch to setting up for mentoring so people can hear me. I haven't really been doing this. It's okay. And part of the reason why actually the first thing we have to do is go look at where did I write this? 3D extended. Yeah. All right, let's skip over what 3D extended is written. I don't want to be biased by that just yet. Here, if you want to start it. Okay, cool. Yeah. It'll probably still take me about 10 minutes to read through everything and just kind of recollect my thoughts. So, oh wait, before I forget this too. Go modify, add templates to the document again. All right, so for those who haven't seen this segment before on stream, what I'm doing is essentially career mentoring for people. And the schedule is in the mentoring command if you want to check it out. I'm waiting for this to load because I didn't actually want to show you the schedule. I wanted to show you something else, but... Okay, well, I've done several sessions now with each mentee that I have. I have 3 mentees, and this is the first 4th session that we're going to be doing. So with everybody else, we've only made it up to session 3. And what I tend to do for these is look over my, oh, sorry, let me give you that command. There you go. What I tend to do is I look over my notes from the last time. So all of the blue links that you see here are links to videos on my second channel about the mentoring sessions that I do. So unfortunately, I think it's a little bit hard as a viewer to understand, like, yeah, what's the summary of what this person was working on or what they're looking for. And I myself look through this document again, which is not public, of what did we talk about? And then I just kind of build up all these questions that I have. So I'm going to read through this. I'll try to give context where I can. Let's kind of see. So a few days after the last session, company approached him for an early promotion. Some strings attached, but went through as of Tuesday. Has to pass it to get the pay increase. So, I mean, I'm sure this is going to come up about the exam, so we'll talk about this. One more thing, they said they believe in him. If he passes the first time, he can only stay in the position and try next year. Stress level of having a fallback wasn't as big as he thought. Peter's still stressed. Yeah, so biggest question is, how's the stress level? All right. When's the exam? So the exam is done. I know that. And I don't know the exact results of this exam. This exam was to basically get into a leadership position and also get a pay raise with it. How do you feel on the preparedness front? So he feels prepared. Feels good about it. Still something to study. He's on track. Okay, good. Finds out immediately. Bummed for a couple days. Adapt to that. Yeah, how's the stress level? Are you happy with how things ended up? Competitive about all of this. Oh, yeah. How about the competitive nature of it all? Hey, BioAim. Doesn't mean anything to be better, but it means something to be worse. I'm going to copy paste that. Scorecards generally shared. Yep, they'll probably share their scores anyway. Oh yeah, how did the other peers do? This is probably a bad question to ask if I don't want this to be competitive. Yeah, how did the other 2 peers do? Well, I guess 2 peers. Okay, lots of new stuff. How has the transition been into the new position? Yeah, it was stressful before. Lots of meetings. Used to be an hour-long blocks. Now they're half-hour chunks. Takes meeting notes. Cuts down on context switching. Hasn't figured out prioritization yet. Different manager from before. Sounds good. So still a good relationship. Expected spread of work. Few customers he talks to daily. Oh yeah, I want to know how this project is transitioning too. Yeah, other side is product owner position with internal meetings. There's a long way to go there. If he cuts down those meetings, the project may die over years. I need to hire someone. Person he was leaning on isn't quite there yet. Okay, yeah. What's the status of the long-term project that you were managing before this new position? And Peter probably already wrote all of this stuff down. So these are just the questions I have if there's nothing else that was already written down or that we talk about. For management would prioritize. Okay. They want to move forward, but you don't have the time. What will you do? There's a vision meeting toward the end of next week. Yeah, so this is where they talked about what's going to happen with this project. Peter was invited as a product owner. They'll discuss the future of the project. Yep. So what's the status / future of that project? Wants to be managing the new product owner. Which option seems best? Wants his mentee to be there no matter what. Might need to be an additional person. Project is pretty big. Okay, also, yeah, were the CEOs prepared for that meeting? All right. Peter says there was something about a miscommunication there. Yeah. So originally I heard, okay, yeah, Peter has 19 or 20 direct reports. But so to me, that sounded nuts. And then, yeah, Peter clarified there was a miscommunication. There are two different parts of leadership. There's the HR person who handles hours, pay, skill development. And then there's a person you report to for all of that stuff. And Peter's doing the HR part of this. So there are no weekly meetings. Maybe there should be like 2 meetings per year. Oh yeah, how have those first meetings gone? How have the first meetings gone with your directs? It's fun from a viewer's perspective of seeing what it is that I'm going to ask about that you're probably like, I'm already answering this stuff. What does it look like to develop their skills if you're only meeting twice per year? Planned out beforehand. Oh yeah, and then how different are they from what you imagined? Are you comfortable? Amount of work that they represent. Yeah, 2 hours for planned meetings. I think Peter had said something like there were 3 of them planned. We're probably going to get to that. What do you plan on doing for more skill development? Open door meetings. Oh, yeah. Have people come to your open door meetings yet? Online meetings. Establish a monthly meeting. Have you had one of your monthly meetings? What if people don't show up? That's why I want to meet with everyone first. Yep. Okay. How are you going to celebrate? You've done so much. Wants to celebrate the app release. Yeah. Did you celebrate? Important question number 1. Yeah. Did you get a massage? Would you get another? All right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think I want to focus on this from the point of view of what got you here. So I want it to be a retrospective rather than just a celebration. This is something I learned with the Rami call that we had on Wednesday, which is I keep kind of trying to push the importance of acknowledging the good stuff that you've done in the past. I think there are a lot of people in software engineering who kind of just move from thing to thing to thing. And that's kind of the case for my mentees right now. And I think celebrations are a point where you can stop and say, I did something good, but I think there needs to be more to it than that. And that's kind of what I'm going to focus on for this a little bit, which is like, it's not just, hey, I did something good. It's like, what got me there? Like, what went into that? What did I do? What, like expanding on it quite a lot. What's the name of that keyboard? It's called a corn. And hey, Rami, and thank you for linking in the command. Yeah. Okay. Role play, 4 hours long. All right. Book on stress management. All right, yeah. How's the gym streak going? This is taking slightly longer than I thought, but I think I'm almost toward the end of this. Wants to get back into it. Did you get back into climbing? All right, and how is post-release going for your app? I think there's a good goal after releasing, and it shouldn't take too many months. Wants someone to love the app. Yeah. Have you found fans of it yet? Thank you, baby. Okay, I think this is most of it. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to copy paste these into my section, and then we'll do the more kind of logistical stuff for getting ready. Good. All right, so what's the rest of this prep that I had here? So go to studio mode, enable this, go over to mentoring. Cool. Done with that stuff. Open Yada. Yeah, posture check. Thank you. Jeez, I've been really bad about this lately, and I don't know why this started all of a sudden. Usually it's not so bad. Okay, so now I'm just setting up for this thing that we're about to do. It's not something I can just have set up automatically, unfortunately. Am I tired? I don't think I'm tired. I don't know what happened with my posture that's causing me to hunch more as of late. Well, at least I've done this enough where this isn't too bad. Okay, I know which windows I'm clicking and everything. Oh, what happened there? Oh, it's because it's taking up the entire monitor. Yeah. All right, so close this. Okay. Right. Okay, so now we just got to update the title and maybe the today command. I don't know who's going to type the today command, but fine, let's update that. Adam is mentoring Peter for their 4th session. See mentoring. All right, let's go update the title. One-on-one mentoring. Peter, session number 4. I should probably just write career mentoring in here. Although it's not just career mentoring, but I think at least that's a better title. So I'll write this career mentoring name. Okay, got you. 3D extended, yeah. It'll be shortly. And then I just got updated on YouTube as well. All right, I'm still technically early. So edit video. And we'll put this here, previous title. Okay. I think we're good. Yep. Yeah, I think we're good. So I'm going to go call Peter and let's get this started. Number 4 on YouTube. Did I type something wrong there? Oh, whoops. Oh my God. Yeah, thank you. That's embarrassing. Oh, I appreciate that, Uber. I really do. Thank you. I didn't do that on Twitch, did I? Yeah, I did. Oh my God. Okay, well, thank you for noticing. All right, let me call Peter now. Now that's set up properly. Let's see. Okay, here we go. And uh-oh. Hey, can you see me? Wait. Yeah. I can see and hear you. Can you see me?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you can. Okay. Let me make it so that everyone else can see you now. Hang on one sec. I did catch a glimpse of your update, although I already knew your update, but now I definitely know your update. Let me do one more thing here. Down. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think this is set up well. Okay, so yes, welcome to session number 4. I see this right here. I did it. I passed the exam. Congratulations. How do you feel?
Thank you. I feel relieved. A lot of stress has lifted, but I also feel tired of the last 2 weeks of preparation. I need holidays.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I think this has been a lot that's been going on. Lots of stress, needs a holiday. So what are you doing on that front to get a holiday, to take some time?
Well, a few bullet points down. I have 3 celebration planned. So I did go out with friends and family on the day I passed the exam. So I had Mongolian food to celebrate. I booked a massage, and I booked an way too expensive holidays in a few weeks. Yeah, from now.
Okay, great. I think that's good. By the way, how was the food?
Great. It was really great.
Okay. I
Ate way too much.
ate way too much. Well, look, good celebration. Here's what I wanted to focus on, and you might have heard me talk to Rami about this stuff, but I want for one of these things, like the expensive holiday, for example, you know, you're going to have conversations with your girlfriend on that. There'll be times where you're eating or relaxing or something. And I want you to try to like break down a little bit more how you got to this point and not just like, hey, I did a great thing. Like what hard work led to this? What kind of stresses did you go through? Does that sound like something you're okay doing?
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
I started doing it on the family dinner, friends dinner. But yeah, definitely something to look back on. I started journaling through the preparation, and yeah, it is quite fun to reading this back as
Yeah.
of late. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I think that's what we do. We tend to forget maybe the struggles and the little successes along the way. And that leads to us forgetting the bigger success that happened. So it's going to be hard for you to forget that you're now in this position and you presumably got the pay raise that came with this, right? Now that you've
Not yet.
not
The
yet.
process has to be passed. So basically, from now in 6 weeks from now, I should have the pay increase.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I see. I guess what I meant is more like now it's essentially secured. It might not have
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
yet,
right.
but yeah, there's no way for you to not get it. Yeah. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
How do you feel? Because you were worried about, will I get the best result? Did you, what were the results like that you got?
So I did not pass with flying colors, as I mentioned, but I have some development potentials. So basically, with the remark, but I got way more feedback than I thought, and there was, I think, yeah, there were some feedbacks I would like to talk to you about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not as bad as I have thought beforehand. Yeah.
So when you say not as bad, you mean the competitiveness isn't as bad?
This too. So basically, you have to frame the story a little bit. After we have talked, basically a week after, my colleague has passed the exam too, but
Yeah.
also with development potential. And this makes it easier on me because I'm not the only one with development potential. So it's not as competitive, but also the feedback I got framed the development potential in a way that I think can work for me. Even without my colleagues, I would have accepted those development potentials for me. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned one colleague who got the same general results. There were two who were going to take the test though, right?
There were three. One is taking the exam in a few weeks from now, and one has failed the exam.
Oh, okay. One failed, one still has to take it. Yeah. What happened to that person who failed? I'm guessing they weren't also given a leadership position ahead of time.
They were given the leadership position, so they have basically to wait 1 year and yes, don't have the pay increase beforehand. Yeah.
I see. How do they feel, out of curiosity?
They seem pretty relaxed, but I don't know if I would see that he's bothered by it.
Okay.
I'm not too close with him, and yeah, obviously he's bummed about it, but he's taken it lightly as what I could have seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. The reason I ask is because you were worried about that outcome yourself. And I know what you said. You said I would probably dwell on it for an hour or a day or a couple days, and then I would get over it eventually. And so now you're seeing it play out from someone else's perspective. Granted, they don't have your same personality and they don't have the same desires. But I'm glad you got what you did. This person who's about to take the test, I hope if they say, hey, I passed with flying colors, that you don't take it in the wrong way. Like you are set. It's your life. Yeah. You're on track now. So how about we talk about this feedback that you were given?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, let's roll back to the exam I took. So it was an assessment center of about 4 hours, and basically, the examiner could only rate what I showed in the AC, and they had an basically a few points to rank me on, to give me points in, and I knew this beforehand. I knew what I will be rated in, and I was pretty convinced that I'm pretty safe in two of them, which were basically be interested in new things, be someone who learns new things and loves learning new things. And one is basically empower the customer, provide them vision that the customers love, and get them into in the company.
Yeah.
And both of them were points I was so convinced in that I will show my best, because I'm pretty. I think of them as my strong suits when it comes to my job, and those are the areas of my lack of skill. So my development potentials. Obviously, I took it too lightly and couldn't show what what I had to offer, because I was so focused on the other points of expertise. I wasn't so convinced of myself. So basically, that's my feedback I got.
Okay, wait, let me back up a
Yeah.
step. So how many ratings were there? Like how many categories?
So basically 6, which are the guiding principles of our company, plus the leadership point.
Okay. So 2 you were confident about, the wanting to learn new things and empowering the customer, and you're saying that those ended up still showing up in the development potentials?
Yeah.
Okay, I see. So do you think that the feedback is fair that they gave you?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
In retrospect, I didn't show what I could have shown in those points. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. And do you feel that, so I think there are a couple of ways that this feedback could work. One is, you and I have a conversation and I test for your, C++ ability in this conversation. You might have it and just not demonstrate it in the conversation, but you're still confident that you have it, so it doesn't matter too much. Do you feel like some of the feedback actually did identify gaps that you have even outside of that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really important then, yeah.
Yeah, that's those points I brought with me. So basically, a few bullet points down. I got the feedback for speech. I think I'm pretty well suited in presenting and self-presenting myself. But I was so nervous going into this exam. I was way too fast speaking, and hence it was obvious that I was way too nervous, and they recommended me some rhetorical courses offered by our company.
Are you going to take those?
Yes, if I have a chance, yes, obviously.
Okay.
I think it's something I'm strong with, but I can improve myself in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember before I started doing some piano recitals as an adult that I had a teacher who said it's always something along the lines of it's always interesting to see how people give performances because nerves affect everybody differently. Some people show it, some people don't show it, but then it hurts their performance, and some people don't have any impact whatsoever. And so I look at this sort of just like what I said about the feedback, that it might be feedback you needed only for the exam or feedback you needed for your job as well. When it comes to this, you will probably experience nervousness at some point on the job, but in your general presentations, if it's largely just that nerves were what impacted you, do you think this course will still help?
Since my assessment center was a virtual assessment center, I guess I would love to know how to present with gestures more. I'm pretty stiff when it comes to presentations in front of people, because I'm more suited and more relaxed in front of a camera. And hence, yeah, I would definitely think that those courses could help. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's good. This is I was talking to Beardage Kyle about this sort of thing too when we talked about Toastmasters, and they have what they call I think it's competent communicator, and it's a manual of something like 10 different things. And so you start with just an introduction, and that's it. Just get up there in front of an audience, and you're fine. And then they try to focus on different qualities of your speaking or presentations. Some are gestures, some are hesitations you might add in, some are vocal variety, so how much your tone shifts and how you slow and speed up. And I think it's good to at least know about. So I do think it's probably worthwhile to take these courses.
Yep.
You did kind of hint at something. You said if you have the chance. So I'm guessing that's more like where does the time come from?
No, it's more of prioritization. I think I have some areas I lack more in, where a course could help me more than those rhetorical courses.
I see. Yeah. There are other areas of growth, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
You may focus on. Yeah. So let's see. You mentioned speech, but what was your feedback on the wanting to learn new things and empowering the customer? Is that this next bullet point here?
No, it's well, the areas of development potential were not as grippable. There were nothing to act on. They explained to me why they had to write down that I have a development potential there, but those were basically you didn't show that you are learning new technical things. I presented in my AC that I learn about leadership and management, and I have podcasts and do mentoring sessions, but I didn't show that except from my leadership area I'm building, I do other learning stuff. And yeah, I do this. I know I do this. I learn new technical things. Hence I build apps, for example. And yeah, so those feedbacks didn't help as much.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So the learning new things, they split into technical and non-technical, it sounds like. And they were convinced on the non-technical part, at least?
They were convinced I'm learning leadership and management skills, but they weren't convinced I do more than learning those new skills I have to learn for my new role.
Yeah, I see. And the way that you did end up communicating, I have written apps, I've released apps, and they just thought, okay, that's not enough. They didn't say, here's what we would have expected?
No. I don't think they expected much. So I think they were looking for something else and not something technical, some stories that I have learned in past. I think they would have loved that I have presented more on this subject, and I used my time to present the other guiding principles I was not so convinced about.
Okay. Yeah. So the reason I ask about this is because you have thought that some of their other feedback has been good. And so if they had said, hey, this, we're not convinced that you're learning as much as you could technically, for one, you've mentioned wanting to eventually be CTO. Two, you have mentioned wanting to keep your technical skills sharp on the path to CTO. And so three, if they say then that, oh, we're not convinced on this front, maybe there is some other signal there that I'm not necessarily getting, and that they'd have a recommendation. Now, let's just, out of curiosity, if we said, yes, this is worth following up on, could you ask them, or is it not a possibility anymore to say?
I could have asked, or I could ask them in the future. I have their company mails, and I can write them. But so they don't know I plan to become CTO, and they wouldn't be in the process of me becoming CTO. They aren't in the process of. And yeah, I don't think it's worthwhile. Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think it is either, because if you're confident enough in your technical abilities and we're far enough away from the path to CTO, then I think there will be enough times to course correct. The other thing too is, since you just got this new position, give it another year or two, your plans might change completely. You might say, now that I've done this, I want to do a different thing. And I'm not even saying a worse or a better thing, just different. That's all. So yeah. Okay. I think that's good. And so then empowering the customer, did you get any feedback on that? Like you said, maybe it wasn't actionable.
Basically, they hinted at me having not as much experience as some other colleagues or leaders that are taking this assessment center. But experience is something which is basically hard to get and hard to provide. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I don't see that as a problem really, especially because you're now in this role and there's, I mean, every day on the job is another day of experience that you'll get.
Yeah.
So I think that'll probably work itself out too. Then is there, so you said there were 6 dimensions of feedback. We talked about 2 of them and then also speech. So is there anything else that they gave you that you want to work on or that you think is good?
There were 2 things they mentioned. One is the balanced employee and company. Basically, the assessment center was situations I would have come into contact with as a leader. Basically, a criticism talk, a meeting with my with a direct report, and on the other hand, I had to lead a team meeting and basically moderate a heated situation. And both of those were settings where I was pretty focused on the employee.
Yeah.
And they would have loved for me to balance employee versus customer more. I was always on the side of the employee. I always asked if the feedback I got in written from my customer is the situation, like how the employee thought of this situation.
Yeah.
And basically, they hinted at that a leader should also be capable of being the hard leader and focus on the customer from time to time. And that's a valid point for me. I'm pretty employee focused, and I know I would tend to focus on the employee when I'm asked to. Yeah.
You know, I find that when you're entering a role or when you're hypothetically entering a role, so in the case of this examination, that you have your own instincts that haven't been hardened by experience. And so wanting to focus on the employee is a valid way of starting out. And then, yes, you probably learn on the job when that works and when that doesn't work. And the experience is what lets you figure out which path to go down. So I think this is something to be wary of. I don't think it's necessarily a problem right now. I do want to know, do you see examples of other leadership in your company prioritizing customers over employees?
Yes. Into the extreme, where some leaders focus on the customers solely and tend to ignore the employees, the direct reports.
Yeah. Do you see a healthy mix that's still skewed more toward customer than you would do?
Yeah, I guess. But as you mentioned, they tend to know when to focus on the customer. Yeah.
Okay. So just like how I said, I think in session 1 or 2, I think it's pay attention to those people who are doing the healthy mix and see where they're making decisions differently from you, because that can serve as a guide. You have your own actions that then can lead to success or failure, let's say. And the failures you really learn from, but you had a failure to get there. And so when you look at other people who have successes without the failure and you think, I wouldn't have done that. That's something I should internalize. So yeah, if you can pay attention to that, I think that would be good. And then also, you know, in these situations that they posed to you, was there a clear, like, you know, okay, the customer is right in this case and I should side with them? Or could it have been argued either way?
The latter one. Obviously the employee presented his side of the argument as the convincing one, and since the customer was in the room, I tend to believe the employee that sits directly in front of me.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. And yeah, do keep an eye on this. Let me just write this here. Keep an eye on people who have a healthy mix. Okay, so yeah, so I think we've talked a lot about the feedback here. It sounds like you've taken into account what you can improve and you want to improve that stuff, and then you'll keep an eye on these other things that are a little bit harder to act on just yet. So you said a lot of stress has been lifted. What stress remains?
The stress of the new role,
Yeah.
the expectations the employee set. I have seen you have written down how the first meetings with my direct reports went. They went great. I ask every direct report what they expect from me, and hence I have yet a written list of 21 different expectations from myself. And yeah, that's a different kind of stress, but that's a stress I can work with. It's not too stressful, and yeah, I work on this every day, and try to find a healthy mix of my day-to-day work. Yeah.
Of the 21, how many of them are they're just opinions? How many are things where you say, yes, I want to prioritize those? What kind of feedback did you end up getting?
So it was a broad mix. The most expectations are open to feedback and transparent communication. So let's call it basic stuff, which is important, which is really important for myself too. But I think of it as a necessity. I don't think it's a problem to fulfill for myself. There were some employees which on the getting to know each other meeting, they focus on the pay increase they wanted to get. So as a first meeting, which is a rough start, let's call it, simply because I'm not yet in the position to do so, to have a pay increase for them. But that's an expectation which is fair in some cases, obviously, but that's nothing I directly can work on because I have some guidance, some guidelines I have to follow, and yeah.
Okay, so I want to approach that in a second. You said there are some basic expectations that they have. There are some that are on the pay side of things. Were there any where it surprised you and you thought, okay, this is something I need to go look at?
There were some employees that wanted a completely different role. So basically, our company has a big restructuring from about 5 years ago, and those employees are still at the company and want the old roles back, the old setting, which is basically unprovidable. But now I'm at the position where I'm the one responsible for their fulfillment, let's say. And that's something I really want to work on.
Yeah. Okay. This is interesting on a couple of fronts. So let's go back to the money part of things. For one, I think it's good that these people are sharing these expectations, even if you can't do anything, and even if it might give you the wrong impression at first almost, because to me, it indicates that they are unhappy enough to have vocalized this. Yeah. And possibly, this could be the difference between America and other cultures, directness. I don't know, like, how does it work over there? But if people at all are like, oh, hey, I don't really want to ask this or something, and then they built up the courage to, that could even show more that this is an important thing versus if you are in a very direct culture and they're just like, give me more pay. I need this. Here's why I deserve it. Then maybe it means a little bit less. But either way, it indicates that they felt there was a need to bring that up in the first meeting with you. Is this something that, like, where do you see as the results of that moving forward? I know you said you're not in a position yet to grant that.
So there are official processes, which is basically there are 2 times a year all leadership in the company collects all pay increase wishes from the employees and creates a big spread list, and the CEO goes through it and grants them or dismisses them.
I see. Okay. So essentially you have to wait for one of those 2 times in the year, and then you would direct these people. So, and you plan on, I'm guessing, following up with these people and saying, look, here's the process. Like, okay, great. Yeah. I think that's good. And I think that's all you really can do, especially in a company with established pay raise processes. So on the other front, you mentioned there are people who want different roles. I think this is also important. Again, they're choosing in their first meeting to talk to you about this. And what I take from this is, you said 19 or 20 direct reports. If all of them have incredibly big requests that are like, hey, I want to change the entire structure of my job, that time needs to come from somewhere. You'll need to dedicate that time. And these people that you met with are, I'm guessing, somewhere between 15 and 25% of your direct reports. So you still have another 15 people to meet with or something. So how does that make you feel, knowing that there are these things you'll need to follow up with?
So time management isn't the strong suit I developed yet, because I still struggling to find the time to basically lead the other project, the long-term project, and prioritize the employees I got now. So it's a lot more time commitment than I've thought initially, but it's something I can provide. But I have to work on this. So I have to find the time and basically set focus times in my calendar, because otherwise my calendar is filled to the brim, and I can't work for my employees, for my direct reports.
Yeah, well, so it's funny because I think this is the most common theme now of everything that you've shared, which is you have a lot of interests or a lot of demands, and you don't have the time for all of those. It's not like, hey, Adam, I have a 6-hour pocket of time. How do I bring myself to do this? It's how do I make the 6-hour pocket of time so that I can do this? And the problem with this is that it's nice to have these demands and desires, and yet it's what you said earlier about that rhetorical course, which is, yeah, how do you prioritize that over the other pieces of feedback? When do you carve out the time? And so signs are pointing to me that this long-term project that you've wanted to oversee, that you need someone else to manage, that you potentially need to hire someone for, how much of your time is that taking up now?
This week, about 25%.
Okay. And you should probably tell me about the plan for that. How did that meeting with the CEOs go?
Yeah, so the CEO didn't come prepared.
As you thought, yeah.
Yeah, right. And it wasn't the outcome I would have liked, but it's something we can work on. I was looking for some prioritizations with the new topics for the project, and this meeting is basically scheduled for now in 2 weeks, which was postponed because there were struggles to find the vision, the roadmap for the overall project, which is basically a requirement before prioritizing the components I'm working on. And so it's postponed, but we did came up with a roadmap, which is at least a starting point for the next meeting.
Yeah. Okay. This this represents quite a lot because, for one, I know this project is near to you. 2 is that 25% of your time in this last week, if you're working a normal work week, is about 10 hours. That's a significant chunk of time that you could spend doing almost anything else, right? And who knows if 2 weeks from now they say, okay, now we can prioritize these things, but we don't have the people to do it yet. And now does your time get spent hiring those people? So this is something I would definitely keep an eye on because you're in this new role. And I think what is familiar to you and what you want to do is part of the old role to some extent. And there's got to be some way to transition that into this new world. Do you want to do that? Is there any, is it kind of just you're bummed that the CEOs are holding up the process?
No, it's the process, which is quite unique, I think, from my position, where I'm both the product owner and now chapter lead, is I'm now responsible for recruiting people.
Yeah.
And I have budget to do so. So I have scheduled a lot of recruiting meetings for the next upcoming weeks, in hope to find someone that is helping me replace myself and getting me into the, let's say, management skills, so Scrum of Scrum, or something like this, for this project. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's great. How do you feel about the recruiting process? Do you feel confident in your abilities to do it? Like, yeah.
So last week I had my first recruiting meeting, and my new manager took the lead in this recruitment process, which was quite eye-opening for me, because I could see the resemblance for my own recruiting process with the same manager.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a lot of similarities. And I have colleagues that are invited to support me in my first recruiting steps, let's say.
What are they invited for? Like, what are they doing?
Into the meetings. So they are leading the first meetings, and I will transition into leading those meetings myself with them at my side, so they could take over, and afterwards, obviously, the next few steps are I'm leading those without them.
I see. And what are these steps? Is it that there's a candidate in the room or virtually there, and it's actually an interview, or is it also trainings?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah. I think this is big. I think you're going to learn a lot in the next like 6 or 12 months. There's no other way to put it. And a lot of times it might feel like it's overwhelming to some extent. And it sounds like you have a good enough network of people helping you and people who believe in you and want you to be there. And so I think you're set up for success. I think the things to watch out for are things like, how do I learn from other leaders on this job doing things that I want to be doing? How do I incorporate this feedback that I've gotten both from the exam center and from my employees? And then how do I make sure that the employees are happy moving forward, especially when some of them approached you with pretty big problems? By the way, how many did you talk to so far? How many direct reports?
All of them. 21.
Oh, okay. Oh, never mind.
Last meeting was this week, yeah.
Okay. All right. I had thought that you'd only talk to a fraction of them. Okay. So then I ignore what I had said earlier about the whole, you might be getting, yeah, I'm going to just delete this section. Never mind. It was more worrisome to me when I thought you talked to like 3 and they brought up these really big things already. And I was like, wow, that's only the first 3. You're really in for it then. Okay. So still managing all these expectations, I think, is going to be a lot. And then while you're learning at the same time. So I don't want to put pressure on you here, but if you make a recruiting mistake, let's say, and you hire someone who can't take on the project, that's much more costly than, making a poor roadmap for your project for the next month. So, are you still feeling excited about all this despite the stress of just the...
Yes,
okay.
I feel excited. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so much new stuff, and I have gained a lot of insights into the processes behind the scenes, and I really enjoy the new look into the company and the processes behind. Yeah.
Okay. And does it reframe how you feel about eventually being a CTO? I know it's very early on.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've seen how technical decisions are made behind the scenes, and I think a CTO is really necessary there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and that they're necessary and that you can find the right person is one thing. And then being that person, I think, is the other thing. So if this hasn't changed your mind at all, I think that's still fine. And, we'll talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, anyway, yeah, like I said, you got a lot on your plate. So,
Yeah.
And I think the holiday is a really good idea too. And that'll be one of the times, I think, I hear this from other managers when they first become managers, which is, how do I even take vacation? How do I step away from all of this? Who's going to handle it in the meantime? That'll be your first test of doing this. Do you have a plan for that?
I have already scheduled my holidays, and my colleagues know about it, but it was quite a hard process. So all new employees, all new managers are invited to an on-site event, and It's the first one where all leaders of my business unit come together, and yeah, it was prioritizing my holidays against this on-site meeting. But I talked to some of the more senior leaders, which are more experienced, and they told me that I should prioritize my holiday, even though they can totally understand if I wouldn't.
So let me get this straight. There is an on-site event that you'll miss as a result of taking your holiday. Let me ask you this: which would you rather miss in the future, like the on-site event or regular work?
Excuse me, the I'm choosing between regular work and the on-site event.
Yeah. And so for this time, you said, I'm not going to go to the on-site event. Is it something that you feel like I want to do that decision every time? Could you somehow schedule your holidays that way?
I chose between holidays and on this on-site event, and I chose to go on in the holiday, and I would make the same choice in the future if the same scenario came up. Yeah.
I see. Okay. I think what I'm trying to ask is more along the lines of this on-site event happens how often?
Basically every few months.
Okay. Okay. So it's common enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind then. I think that's fine. Okay. Wow. Well, yeah. So how about we move on to some of this other stuff? Do you feel like, you've got a plan, feeling confident enough in what you're doing at work?
I do.
Yeah.
I think I'm. You mentioned I'm set up for success. I'm well connected, but I have a point written down for more networking. But basically, I think I'm in a position where I can fulfill the expectations that are held up.
Yeah. I think that's important because whether or not you can is something you'll find out with time, but how you feel about whether you can do that is something that will always be up to how you feel about it, your mentality, I guess. So it's good that you're feeling confident about it. I see this here, the how do I connect with new people and network with them? Where is this coming from? Why do you want to network with people?
So one of the questions I was asked in my leadership interview in my assessment center was, how are you networking with other people in our company? I mentioned I'm working in a pretty big international company, and they are always looking for someone that is connecting multiple areas in the company, so you are well suited and well networked. And I think I'm at a starting point. I'm pretty new into this company. I'm not yet in a position where I would say I have a big network of people I know.
Yeah.
And I would love to build this, but I'm struggling to. I don't know where to start finding connections, and the harder part for me is staying in touch with them.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk about this in just a sec. Let me see, because something came up while you were saying this. Okay, so the assessment center people said, how are you going to connect to these different groups of the company?
They were asking if I'm connected and what I do with my connections.
Right. Okay, so those were the assessment center people, though. How does your leadership feel about this?
Depends on who you're asking. If we ask my direct manager, they would say networking is important, but not too high up the ladder. If you ask my CEO, he's pretty well networked within our company. Obviously, he goes to the big events, has to present our company, and is pretty good at networking. But the more you go down the ladder, the less importance is for networking.
Yeah, so I think that essentially sums up my thoughts on this. A while ago, you asked me, hey, how do I get better at marketing? And I said, I don't think you should get better at marketing. And I'm going to say something similar here, which is that you are in a new role. There's no expectation from your leadership that this would happen. And I think here's the really important part. when I would interview people, I would interview them to try to figure out what level they are, because there's a job posting and maybe you say you're whatever, just to make up a number, level 50. And I'm checking to see, are they really level 55 or are they really level 45 or something? The way you test this is by asking questions like this. How well networked are you? And if you were a CEO, you would say, well, I know all of these techniques. I'm talking to different companies. I'm talking to different functions within these companies. And they would say, oh, wow, that's a good signal. And they'd rate you higher. And I think that's why they're asking about this, not like it's a necessity of the job. And you have much more pressing issues that are staring you right in the face. So yeah, how do you manage your time? How do you make sure your employees are happy? With that said, I can still talk to you about some networking techniques, but I don't think you should focus on them. So unfortunately, your holiday is scheduled over one of the best ways of doing this, which is an on-site company hosted event. Because, but go on. Yeah.
So the on-site event is basically from, I told to you about this. I am 2 level down from my big parent company. So there is the parent company, then there's a middle layer, and then there's us at the smallest company level with about 300 employees. And the on-site event is from those 300 employees and not from the parent company. And they were asking if my parent company and if I'm connected into the other companies which are outside those 300 employees.
I see what you're saying. The way I look at this is that it's a social graph. And so any two people being connected here, then there's a connection here and here and here. And so then you're essentially connected through all of that, or you could at least move across that graph more easily. So I think there was sort of an implicit thing you're saying, which is that this isn't the bigger company, which is what the assessment center wanted. And yet it's still valuable because you probably don't know all 300 employees. If you do, like you said, how do you stay in touch with them? So I think form bonds with the people that will be most readily helpful to you, and then work your way outward from there. So, okay, this is one way of doing things, but I think the general thing I'm trying to say is that company events are hosted things that they expect to have people talking to each other, building some bond in that time. And then usually they give you, food and fun stuff or whatever else, some, activities. So it's like a, hey, just take this and go kind of thing, instead of go carve out your own event, go to a convention where you hope to meet some of these people or something. So I think that's one of the easiest ways to do it. And since I'm saying not to focus on this too much right now, I would say just, next big company event you see that you're allowed to go to, maybe consider going. And that's what I'd probably leave this at for now. If that didn't work, I think we should just talk about it then. When it comes to staying in touch with people, I think this is somewhat tough because it all depends on what relationship you have with that person and what you want out of that relationship. So sometimes, I've seen, maybe this is bad to say, but I've seen people who suck up to upper management, and the relationship they want is, I want to look good in this person's eyes so that if there's a promotion or something, I might get it. Whereas a lot of times it could be you are on team A and you want to have a relationship with team B because their product or feature could help you in your part of the company. So depending on that relationship, how you stay in touch might be different. There might be something like hey, how can we support your team, or how can we help you through whatever difficulties you have so that then you can help us, versus just, hey, how's it going kind of thing, where it's so I think some of this will be tentative until you need it. And yeah,
I guess why this was interesting to me and stayed in mind as the sole question from this whole interview was I guess I'm not good in it even in my personal life. So staying in touch with my friends is something that is quite hard for me, and I haven't figured out a way to make it a habit to reaching out or staying in touch. And maybe I was connecting private and company stuff with each other, but that's, I think the networking part is something I want to work on for my private life as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely something we can talk about. I think let's start with the people you want to stay in touch with but aren't staying in touch with. We're just talking like friends here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so not necessarily family or yeah. Okay, good. So these friends, are they in the same area as you and you could meet up in person? I'm trying to get a better grasp of the kind of people we're talking about.
So basically, I would say, three bigger friend groups, and one of those, I have a regular scheduled game days where we meet for playing games. We play Dungeons and Dragons, and it's easy to stay in touch because we have something we schedule in advance to come together. And those other friend groups, I don't have this, and if I'm pretty bad at remembering to talk to them. It's something out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, and it's obviously if I remember, I write them. We meet, but I tend to forget to ask them and meet, and yeah.
Okay, well, so I think there are a few things here. The first I'll start with is you read about 3/4 of Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
I don't know if you took notes or anything, but if you were to read over or skim it or look at your notes from the lens of how do I get this to help with my friends, I think that would shed some light on a lot of this. You know, you're supposed to make something as easy as possible to do and as rewarding as possible once you do it. And so the easiest possible part with Dungeons and Dragons, you've scheduled this every so often. It's easy. You just go, you do it. The event is planned. You know what to expect. Everything is there. It's rewarding because you have fun and you socialize with your friends. With these other people, there isn't something that's making it easy right now. And like you said, you can forget. And so the first step would be to just not forget, which could be a calendar reminder saying text, roll dice and figure out who you text, but like text a person from your friend group and they're cool. Now you at least have a reminder that's putting it back in your face of like, let's meet up with this person. Beyond that, it would be, having an activity or having something that you can do. And I think your schedule is pretty full as it is. So it's probably hard to add in something at regular intervals. And that's where I would say at least just start with just a calendar reminder of text or call this person. And I do this with certain family members and certain friends that I have. It's like a semi-random occurrence. Maybe I'll have it on a like 5.4 week recurrence where it's like in your head, that's not the same time every month. And then when it rolls around, you're like, oh, I do have to call that person. So that helps for me. But at some point you've got to think, how many people can I stay in touch with and not, sacrifice something else? And how many people do I want to stay in touch with? And so what is that balance for you? Like, do you want to be in touch with all three friend groups and be doing something all the time? Because you could do that, right? And then what do you give up to do that?
I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
I think I have to think about this. I don't think it is necessary for me to have regular meetings scheduled, events scheduled with my friends, and yeah.
Okay. Well, I think, this is, I don't know how this will sound exactly, but at some point you kind of take inventory of the people you're talking to in your life, because we live in a time where you don't have to ever say, sorry, I'm moving away. We just can't talk to each other, hang out. We can now always text and call, and we can always play a video game together online or something like that. So there's no way to stop you from being able to do an activity with somebody. And as a result, every person you meet is adding to this sort of pile of people that you could just keep talking to the rest of your life, right? And yet we don't just talk to 2,000 people every single week. So you are making a choice somehow to sort of cut people out of that loop or lower their frequency or something. Yeah, at some point, I think there are people where it's like, I call them once a year on their birthday, and like, that's the relationship we'll have. And if I were to drop that, maybe we'd never talk to each other again. And like, I don't know. So at some point, I guess it's like, that's life. And like, how much do you want to network with these people? And the techniques you use for networking with these personal contacts will extend to networking with people at work. You'll have made it easier. You'll have reminders or something. You'll set up an event sometimes, and you'll participate in events sometimes. So yeah, I think maybe start with just like, who are the two most important people of these other two friend groups, and just focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll write this down
I think
too.
that's good. Yeah.
and focus on them. Yeah. Okay. So what do you want to talk about from the remaining things that we have here?
Yeah, I think those go fast. Go both pretty fast. So basically, I'm back into the sports streak I plan on.
Nice.
I did pause it for my AC after studying a whole bunch. I wanted to to binge watch some Netflix, and yeah, the couch was more rewarding at the time than sport. And yeah, I was looking forward to starting again, starting the streak again, and yeah, that's what I've been doing the last week. Yeah.
Did you go climbing?
Yeah, I did, and I had I don't know what you call it in English. If you have tender muscles afterwards.
Yeah, just soreness, I guess. Yeah.
Soreness, yeah, right. After climbing for 2 days.
I look at it almost like I did the thing correctly if I'm sore afterward, because pain is bad, but if you're just sore, it's like, well, I worked out muscles I didn't work out before. How do you feel about having to break the streak? Because I think that's the part I'm most concerned with for you.
It was nothing I've decided actively. It was something I basically hadn't. I hadn't the energy to do it, and it was nothing that was bothering me because my mind was so focused on the exam. Yeah, obviously, in retrospect, it would have been nice to keep going the streak and see the climbing number, but it's nothing that is bothering me too much.
Okay, good. Out of curiosity, did you watch the video I made on Tuesday, the one little step thing on YouTube?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
yeah.
So the most important thing, and for anyone watching this, it was just, pursue some things in your life, but the important part was don't feel guilt about if you can't do it. I don't find guilt to be a good motivator. I think it can motivate in some rare cases, and then it's probably not even a healthy motivator. So I think streaks typically get to the point where it's skirting the line between guilt and like proper motivation. So anyway, as long as you don't feel anything bad about that, I think that's great. You've gone out for a run, you've gone climbing. How do you feel now? Because in your first session, you said, I've been doing martial arts for a really long time. I want to get back into something. Do you feel like you've succeeded?
No, because I want to do something that is in a group and not by myself. But I think I'm on the right track to do so. So climbing was I wasn't climbing by myself. I had some friends with me, and I want to, basically increase the amount of time I do some kind of sports with my friends.
Okay. And did you run on your own, or were you running with people?
I was running my own. Yeah.
Okay. So this is how do you tackle two things on this list at once? You mentioned you wanted to be in touch with these other two friend groups. Are any of them active?
Yeah. The one is so active. I am quite nervous to ask them if we can do some sports together. But yeah, they are pretty active.
Well, climbing is not something where you need to be at the same level as somebody else. Running can be, because you run at two different speeds and then you're not running together anymore. But that could be an idea that you do too. You reach out to the people, like I said, that you think are the most important, and you say, hey, I want to get back into sports. Let's go running together, or let's go climbing together. So I think it's good. I guess, when I asked, do you feel like this was a success? And you said, no, I thought, uh-oh. And then you said, because I'm not going with a group.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's fine. But I think part of this is identifying, like, you, at the time, I don't think we're doing much toward activities, sports. Yeah. And now you are. And so hopefully, at least from that point of view, you recognize, like, I made this change, and you made it in, however long it's been since the first session. What was it? Let's see.
2 months ago.
December 21st. Yeah. So since then, you've already made strides toward this. And I think that's great. So, and I think this also reinforces the point of, you can only do so much. So you prioritize certain things, you wrote them down in this document, and now you're going and focusing on those. So yeah, try not to add so many things that you can't focus on everything. I think that's the difficulty here. By the way, what did you watch on Netflix?
I have to add it to this list. It was some anime I found. I don't know the name.
That's fine. Yeah, I was just curious. Okay, yeah. So let's see. We got a little bit of time left. How about we cover the app thing really fast?
Yeah. So I also did break my coding streak. I was planning on coding at least 1 minute each day to make it easy more for myself. And I'm back to coding for at least for this week. But I think I want to decrease my goal of coding each day to at least coding 3 to 4 days a week. Simply because the amount of things I learn on the job are so heavy on my mind that coding is quite hard to focus on.
Yeah, look, this is the whole no guilt thing. It's okay to put a goal aside for some amount of time, and not out of necessity, even just out of like decision to say, I just rather focus on this for now. And I myself have been doing this quite a lot. I started streaming and I was making a bot, and then I was making whatever. I've been almost entirely on game development now. And in my head, I keep thinking, but I left this unfinished and I left this unfinished. And yet it's like, I want to work on this. So I'm just going to work on this for now. So if you drop the daily coding down to 2 times a week and you still say, you know what, this isn't working for me, I'm not seeing the progress I want to do, it might be better to just say, I'm going to wait until I have the time to focus on this. And yeah. And also ask yourself, what are the main goals out of this? Is it to improve your coding? Is it to get an app out there people love? Could you focus on the app you've released already and get more people who... So yeah, really think about how you're pulling yourself in so many directions, I guess. Yeah. Okay. But sorry.
Yeah. To the point, which you have asked, you have written down the question, if I found fans for my app, the goal to find someone who loves the app is for the new app I'm currently developing. That's the goal. For my old app, I basically set it aside. I have currently no users, but it was a journey and quite a fun one, but that's not my concern currently. Yeah.
I see. Okay. And again, totally fine. And I think, there's probably this desire to push everything to the maximum. Like each app I release, I want users, I want money, and then everything then becomes like your job right now, where you're in this 6 months period of I'm transitioning, I'm learning something new, and you never get a chance to just kind of settle and use the skills you've learned and kind of feel good about that. So, how are you feeling kind of in general? Still
tired and stressed, but I'm looking forward to the holidays, to the massage in 2 weeks, and I'm pretty I'm pretty excited. I got the exam a few months ago. It was such a big goal, and I did it, and I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, I am happy too. I hope the holiday is great. I hope you get a time to decompress. And I really do hope you end up talking to your girlfriend about like, how did you get there? Breaking down the whole, what went into this? How can you give yourself credit for this? What were the struggles that you faced that you thought were insurmountable when you first approached them that clearly you got through because you passed the exam? So yeah, I think that'll be great. Yeah. Okay, well, cool. Thank you, Peter, for the session. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And yeah, have a good rest of your day. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, chat. Let us all clap for Peter. Let me go back to, hang on, let me make sure I'm not leaking anything here. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. Good job, Peter. Let me show this on screen. Huge congratulations. Yep. In the same boat regarding friendships. Pain point for me and friend groups is syncing calendars for when they're available. Hard for them when they have kids, and cost for whatever it is we want to do. Yeah, I think, there's a strategy that we've tried with some of our friends lately, which is before leaving before leaving wherever you are. So let's say you're at a restaurant or something with your friends. Schedule the next session. And so we are pretty busy, my wife and I, and we have friends who are also, pretty busy. And so in the past, sometimes this has been like, hey, when are you free next? And right now it's March. They might be like, well, I'm traveling next, and then after that is back. So how about June? And this has actually happened in the past where we've scheduled something, 3 months in advance. And then that day rolls around, and yeah, we try to find a time that we can meet up. But yeah, I think staying in touch is probably more important now than it was in history, because I feel like you were just around people more and people were more interconnected. Did someone say anime? I hope you all enjoyed the session. I like being part of these sessions and kind of seeing these people grow. Yeah, thank you too, Peter. Yeah. It's the first time I watched one of these mentoring sessions, found it insightful for myself. Thanks for sharing. As I listened, I was reminded of a soft skills course I took recently that provided me a ton of value, and it's something I think Peter and maybe other mentees could benefit from. Yeah, you can whisper the course. You could share it on Discord. You could actually just link it here if you want to, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Probably Discord is best because I'm going to be wrapping up pretty soon, and it would just save me from having to write it down now. I could write it down later. Staying in touch also has to come from both sides. If you're the instigator 10 times and they don't. Yeah. I think some people are just bad at this. Like, they'd be totally happy hanging out whenever you invite them, but they're not going to come up with it themselves. And I've had a couple of friends who in the past have literally told me, like, if I don't see you, something along the lines of like, if I don't see you, I don't think about you, that sort of thing. They said it a little bit nicer. It was an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. But at one point, I was reaching out to these people and pretty regularly, like making an effort. And when I called, they would respond. We'd have a good talk. And then at one point I was like, I wonder if they would ever make an effort with me. And I told them, I'm like, this is important to me. It was clearly communicated. And I said it multiple times, and that effort never happened. And now we haven't talked in like 8 years. Here's the link. Okay. Yeah. I'll share or I'll put this on my thing. Yeah, and sometimes I think that's kind of sad, but at other times I think like it's kind of like what I said in the mentoring session. There are only so many people you can be in touch with, and so many people you can be like close friends with. And even the people I know who have would say that they have like tens of friends in real life that they keep in touch with. It's like they're really only super close with a couple of them. So look at this. Is it Discord also Adam Learns Live? I don't know for sure. I was talking about more posting it in the server. I think my name is, oh, there it is, Adam Learns. Yeah, there's no live in it. Not the kind of person that reaches out. It's a character flaw. It's something I've recognized. I don't know. I think if you're reaching out to the people who matter, I think that may be all that's really important. Like, I try to make an effort with a lot of different people, and I feel like I've maxed out on that. Like, I try to keep in touch with like a good chunk of my family, and then a few different friends. And some of the friends over the years, I found the same sort of thing where it's like, they're not really making an effort with me. There's also this term that some of you might have heard of, utility friend, the person who you call up or who calls you and is like, hey, can you help me move? They call you up and they're like, hey, I need a favor. Can you watch my cat this weekend or something? And that's the only time you ever hear from them. And it's not super obvious until you start looking for something like this. Fair weather friend is the term I've heard. I always thought of a fair weather friend as, I guess I interpreted the term as like, when the weather is good for them, they will, when the weather is good for you, they'll be there. As in, if you need something in your life, they won't help you. But if you're doing great, they'll be like, oh yeah, sure, let's go celebrate. But yeah, maybe that's not what it typically is. What I usually do, I tell my friends they can contact me after 10 years if they want. We'll still be friends. Yeah. Also, if you have a mutual understanding with somebody, I think probably many of us have a person where you talk to them once a year and it feels like no time has passed. And yeah, if you both are fine with that relationship, that's totally cool. And yeah, some people that I do only call on their birthdays or something, it does kind of feel like that, like no time has passed. I need a plumber. I've never had that sort of thing happen, I guess. The can you help me move has happened. I think some people have been like, hey, can you help with technical problems? But hey, can you unclog my toilet has never been a thing. They'd always call around a car show to get free tickets. No friend anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Free tickets, or like, manipulating that you have a discount to something. What was it? There was someone who talked to me about, uh, oh, I remember what it was. I knew someone whose mom worked as, I think in like acupuncture, and in this community where she lived, this was like a very desired thing to get acupuncture, and she felt so guilted into doing it for everybody for free. I think eventually she started it as her like main job, just because of how much demand there was from people who wanted it. Yeah, the friend with the truck. Anyway, I've been streaming a lot more than normal lately. It's 12:06 and it's been 3 hours and 37 minutes. I should really go get lunch, but then post lunch, we're going to get back to game dev stuff, and we're going to work on abilities and the skill tree and everything else. I've been very, very happy with everything that's been going on stream as of late. I feel like I've only been doing the things I want to do, and it's been, game dev stuff for a little while, but it's also been mentoring and interviews. The next interview is scheduled for Wednesday, by the way. I have used Go, yeah. I started using it at Google. I haven't really used it outside of that. Excuse me, sorry. Next interview, March 27th, and it's with Steve Willard, a lead software engineer at TetraScience, and I posted his LinkedIn here too. You should have access to this document. Not that anyone yet, someone else is doing this. Not that anyone, probably cares exactly yet without having seen the person, but yeah, I hope that'll be good too. So yeah, so I'm gonna get going. I'll be back in about an hour, and we'll continue with development stuff. So thank you all for watching. Thanks again to Peter for being here, and yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.